Everybody got their ground harnesses on? Arnie, Mystic?
Oh yeah, I'm buckled in, ready to go.
Time to play those bottles in the desert.
Oh yeah, got my didgeridoo ready.
No emus nearby?
Well, you can never really tell with the emus.
Emus are not the problem. Cassawaris are the problem.
That sounds like a Pokemon. Anyway,
It kind of is. It's the evolution of the emu. It's more dangerous.
He's right, you know.
So, with that opening basically telling you who's going to be on this episode, let's get to introductions. I am Johan, your host as always, and with me I've got my co-host, SPNatI. Why don't you say hello?
Hello.
I've got two very special guests from Down Under. So our first guest is one we've had on before, Mystic Knight. Why don't you say hello?
Hello, I'm Mystic Knight. I've made Shimikaze and Remilia, and I'm the less Australian sounding one.
Well, why don't we throw another shrimp on the Barbie and give the spotlight to our second guest for the first time on this podcast. One of the game's mods, Andres. Why don't you say hello?
Hello.
One of the game's longest tenured mods.
That is true. I was the subreddit and game moderator from March 2017 to April 2018, and from January 2019 onward.
Either you or Pat is the longest lasting mod, right?
Well, I did take a break for almost a year, so I think that must go to Pat. Yeah, Pat is done.
For the people who are just tuning in and have no idea who you are, why don't you say which characters you've made?
This Arndress guy, he single-handedly ran the game for a while and made everyone's files for them.
It's true. I remember back in the early days, I sent in a lot of files to ModMail before the character editor. I'd send in the pose list and they'd make the poses.
That is so true. I solo modded the game for a while and it burnt me to a crisp. I think I've been around for a long time. I know a lot of things. I haven't been around as long as, say, some people like Pivotal Cog, for example. But I know a lot of things. I can answer basically anything, except I can't give any hard stats on play counts. But anything else I can answer. My characters, I started off with Nagisa. Nugi-chan, I have almost all of the writing is mine, except for the initial voice. That's somebody else's, her original author. And I also wrote most of Korra. And I also wrote most of May and a lot of Diva. Patisdom also did a lot of Diva too.
May from Overwatch? I thought you meant May from Pokemon.
No. There's no May from Pokemon in the game, right?
No, we don't know who that is. No way.
All right. And with introduction out of the way, I suppose it's time to get on to updates to the game. This time, besides new characters, we had the resort, and with it, a bunch of brand new goodies and other features.
Version 12, finally.
Yeah, version 12 at long last.
We thought it was just a meme.
Shiny new character select.
Yeah, a whole new UI and collectibles are a thing now. And those are neat.
It's kind of like epilogues for people that are too lazy.
Well, it's kind of like epilogues, but less rewarding, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're epilogues you can collect in bulk.
Funny enough,
for a game.
It's funny enough that they're less rewarding than epilogues, but essentially they are just a reward.
That's true, and you can make them through a bit more challenging circumstances to unlock than epilogues. For example, people have been asking for things that they can unlock for losing. You could make a collectible for losing against a character.
a really shitty, you tried medal.
Yeah, it's a nice little consolation prize.
Just make an
Solid
epilogue,
effort.
but it's like in MS Paint.
As far as I'm aware, I think there's a feature that you can tie in epilogues to having collectibles, if I understood correctly, right?
I'm not sure if that functionality exists yet, as in, I'm not sure if it can detect what epilogue you have unlocked. So, for instance, Nagisa has 3 epilogues. I don't think the game will know which has been unlocked for collectibles, but it can work out whether you
Oh, no, no,
beat
no.
her or didn't beat her.
I thought the way that worked is that you could unlock epilogues depending on if you have a certain collectible. Maybe I was
Oh
misunderstanding
yes,
that.
absolutely. Because you can unlock epilogues very flexible. We don't even use how flexible it is to unlock epilogues. So you could unlock an epilogue based on the same conditions, any condition for as a marker would be. So, for instance, if that's play with Katria and Florina, then that's your that can be the same condition for a collectible and for an epilogue.
All right. With that out of the way, it's time to go over all of the changes to the game that have happened since last time. It looks like we're sitting at 5. We got 2 sponsorships, 2 reworks, and 1 character getting returns to testing. Let's start it off with Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill.
Matoy.
Matoy?
Matoy.
That's what I said the first time, right?
What are
Nope.
you, dumb?
So I probably.
You said Matoy. It's Matoy.
I like
Matoy.
that once upon a time Johan would mess up her first name, and now he's messing up her family name instead. It's like 1 step forward, 1 step back for you.
I think he just does it on purpose.
I'm really not.
He's just
I
trying to
promise.
make it his personality.
I promise I'm not.
Yeah, I think last time she was in the middle of being sponsored, and I was addressing feedback. So, glad to see that she made it into the game, had a lot of support, and turned out to be pretty popular. She topped the resort in pure votes. Did not expect that. And yeah, she's popular, but it is like 5 years old now. I don't know, that's ancient in internet years.
She didn't lose her way.
It's true.
I guess it's got staying power.
Oh yeah.
That is a very impressive result.
I mean, I didn't think that like I did like an absolutely knockout job with her or anything, at least on the writing, but people seem to have really responded to her, and I don't know, maybe that was inevitable just from the character choice. Could have put out like default face and she'd still get some votes. But
Well, I think you captured like the zany energy of Kill la Kill really well. Like, she's really fun and bombastic. She does lots of cool visual stuff. You have Mako there having a fun time. You have Senketsu being Senketsu. It's just like it feels like you've written her very well.
I think the posing was the part that turned out the best, at least. I think that's where she shines. Not that anything there is like on the level of like Mouse, which is why I was surprised that Amalia fell a little bit. But you know, I could have gone like the zone approach and just have like Senketsu string her up or something for the forfeit, but it's a little out of my skill range for now. And people really like her epilogue, and I don't know. I think compared to some of the other ones, it's a little tame. There's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of setting changes too.
There's a lot of time overall. It's a very long epilogue.
See, I think people get a bit of like an exaggerated sense of how long it is because the setting keeps changing. I don't know if it's particularly longer than any of the other epilogues I've made.
I think the results speak for themselves. She's the top spot. So, she's the top of the raw votes. So you can't argue with those.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad people like her. I'll give her more targeted lines and things when I can, plus a collectible. I'm just busy playing catch up with my other girls, getting their responses out and having them target things that I was ignoring because I was working on Ryuko. Anyone have any suggestions for what Ryuko's collectible should be?
Well, I think that there's only one option, right? The second
I'm
scissor
listening.
blade.
The second scissor blade.
Like there are so many ways to go about collectibles, but I like just giving players stupid things.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's just like, here's something random for the fun of it. Congratulations on beating the character.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'll do that.
There you go.
Ryuko doesn't really own anything, so.
Another approach could be if it's something sexy. I feel like for the nature of the game, if you unlock something that's a bit mundane, it might not be as satisfying.
I mean, I kind of consider collectibles just mundane in the first place. But
like, I think crickets is like a very thematically appropriate answer.
I consider like the epilogue to put all that, because like, what can you do that's sexy? You have like underwear and like photos or scenes, and like those are your two options. I guess you could do like an alt costume.
Or like Ryuko's pajamas or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
That's a lot of time for me to be spending in Kiseki because I don't know how to fucking build that.
I think Ryuko, I'm not messing it up anymore. I'm not. I think Ryuko is really cute. I think that you've really done a standout job of capturing the wild, bombastic tone of the show. Nice job. You put the right song in the epilogue.
As opposed to?
Literally, or like, there are several great songs from Kill la Kill, like Ambiguous and Ragyo's theme, but
Blumenkrantz.
Yeah, but we all knew that it had to be "Don't Lose Your Way."
That's not what the song is called, Johan. Technically, the track is like Gekiban Tokigata.
You're not going to let me be right, are you?
It's just like the choral version of Before My Body Is Dry, where like it has a whole bunch of singers instead of one.
Yeah, and that's the best. That is the best. Like, anything that is the best version of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you really did a standout job with that character.
I think the important thing for that epilogue is to just picture the Kamui transformation happening around your dick.
So she's
let that sink in.
Synchronizing with life fibers in more than one way. Alright. The next character to get sponsored was our Mika. Or Rainbow Mika from Street Fighter.
Well, quick past.
Yeah. Why don't you guys say what you're saying? Arnie, starting with you.
I tried her again for the first time last night. The animations were a real surprise to me. There's a lot of frames in those. Also, I really like the redesign of Nadeshiko. That was an impressive surprise.
Yeah, like she had a butt slap animation, and when I first saw it, I just sat there like, whoa, this is really, really good. Yeah, I must have spent like a minute or two just admiring the animation itself before I was like, butt slapping, that's pretty good.
Admiring the flesh.
Oh yeah, it was a sight to behold for sure.
I'm just imagining you, Misty Knight, spending like 120 seconds watching this one animation and going, yep, this is still good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've done animations in the character editor before, and watching really impressive ones, just like, I appreciate that. This is very impressive.
I still haven't made an attempt at the pose maker.
With time, Spanny, with time.
I've used it, and I used it for 8086, and it's changed since then.
I've got so much other stuff to catch up on that I don't know. I just don't want to mess with it. Especially like I'm planning on updating Maya's and Jura's models anyway, so I don't see the point in like chopping them up and trying to make complex animations when I'm just gonna have to do it again.
Definitely fair. You have to promise me though that you change Revi's like smoking poses and you make the smoke billow.
Oh, for fuck's! That's every pose.
Please, Mr. SPNatI, please. I don't ask for very much, but this.
How would I even do that?
That's your homework to figure that out.
I think that SPNatI mentioned in a previous podcast that if the animations are really eye-catching so that they can be distracting, I think if you overuse them, I think it's too much. So I think, like if there's a butt slapping one here and there, you don't want it to be like every second line. It's like, wow, this is special.
Yeah, well, first of all, it'd be a looping animation, which I consider to be the cardinal sin.
Even worse than
Personally.
standing forfeits? Even worse than a hagao?
I mean, if we're going to talk about the absolute cardinal sin of everything, we have many options. Default face, standing masturbation. Not targeting Maya.
The worst sin of them all.
But I mean, like, in animation specifically, like, don't put something that infinitely loops when I'm trying to read. That's really distracting.
I would say like it's okay then still if done sparingly. Like if it's just gets your attention for one line and then that's it for, the next, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, it's okay.
A short line.
Yeah, as someone who made a character who has 2 entire stages where every single pose loops, yeah, probably don't do that. Especially because it's not fun to set up, let alone play with.
I think it depends on how eye-catching it is too. If it's going to be like butt slapping, it's different than if it's, just a slight. Like for instance, if someone made a character blink, I don't recommend anyone makes a character blink the entire time. But
I think Yuri was planning to do that with Giffany.
Well, that's just Giffany.
Before that got scrapped.
Well, Giffany is supposed to be creepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most characters are not. And that would be creepy.
So you were saying, Arnie?
With Giffany, even though with Giffany she was meant to start normal and just get more and more animated as time went on. Is that right? I think that would have been an interesting idea too, but again, the whole idea would have been to be different and a little bit unsettling, so that makes sense to me.
I think that Armiko is good. She wasn't one of my favorite Street Fighter girls when she first came out, and she's still not my favorite because that's Juri, but I'm definitely glad that Mitalitar has updated all of them. He really has gone and improved quite a bit since he disappeared and came back.
Juri is a funny way to pronounce Chun-Li.
Yeah. It's how us Americans pronounce it.
Oh, wrong. Okay. Understood.
Wow, I can't believe you've done this.
Don't you know, if you say Juri while standing upside down, it'll sound like Chun-Li.
I don't... pronunciation is not something I take advice from you.
You know what? Fair enough, I suppose.
Very well done.
They are literally standing upside down.
It's true.
Yep. That's how it works here.
I'm surprised you haven't fallen off the Earth.
That's what the harness is for.
Speaking of flat Earth...
How did they get past the Antarctic ice wall?
Speaking of flat Earth, the next character to get updated was Kyu. And I don't know why, but flat Earth just seems like such a great segue to her.
Because it's the kind of thing she would make fun of?
Yeah.
Totally the kind of thing she'd make fun of.
So,
it's like you managed to lose with 2 pair. You must also believe in the flat Earth.
There you go, Yuri. If you're listening,
Comedy gold.
It's
Yeah,
free
it's
lines, Yuri.
free lines.
And we'll see them on the next Q update on 420 of next month or next year.
I added some lines to Revy that, like, if the player has one pair and then she has a straight or a flush, she calls you a stupid dipshit who doesn't know how poker works. Just in case.
Excellent.
Just in case they're one of those people.
So thoughts on the Q?
So thoughts on the Q update? First of all, just like props to Yuri for actually getting it out. I know it's really hard to do a big update on a character, especially when it changes the whole model. And it looks good, and the animations are good. And I noticed new lines of dialogue when I was playtesting, along with that Florist Fryers joke, which I see every single time I play against her. But yeah, it's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mystic,
Also,
thoughts on it?
the flying animation looks really good too. Sorry.
Oh
That's
yeah, I was so as you may notice, I like animations, and Q's wing flap animations was also nice to watch. So kudos on that. I'm very jealous. Like it's been so long since I played Hunipop, I don't remember what Q looks like, and I'm too lazy to Google it. But I'm sure this model looks more accurate than the old one.
Is no one going to call him out on
definitely-
saying Hunipop? Is it just me?
Is it really Honeypop?
Is it-
I don't know how to say it.
It's Honey Pop.
Although why isn't it
Okay.
spelled honey?
Because it's a video game. It can do that kind of bullshit.
Oh sure, so you can spell things wrong because it's a video game.
Yes.
like
Have you ever
just
heard
like
of
Crisis?
Mortal Kombat?
That's true.
Oh, well, he's right. Alright, I'll hang my head in shame. And I'll start calling it Honeypop from now on.
Alrighty.
I didn't fucking know.
Yeah, same.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I found a picture of Q. As soon as I
It's
can
like
locate it in
Res
here.
meme, I'm gonna cry.
So, you don't know anything about Honey Pop, but...
No, I've played the game. It's just been a very long time since I've played it.
Thanks
So,
for
like-
the sex, homie.
Oh.
That's the only line I know.
It's the only line you
What
need
a
to
line
know.
it is. Yeah, that's right.
If we ever get a Q epilogue and she doesn't say that, what was the point? It was all for nothing.
I think it's on. I think that line's on the level of a Kramer hentai adventure,
Actually,
which
now
I
that
believe
I'm
I
like,
posted in the last podcast, but Johan did not edit it into the video.
was definitely mentioned. All right, now that I'm looking at Q, Yuri, where's this like veil-y thingy around her waist? That's it. Terrible model, not accurate at all. 0 out of 10.
You
Worst
mean
art update I've ever seen.
a skirt? A skirt? Is that the word you're looking for?
Can you call it a skirt?
It looks more like a bitch cape. Like, it's a cape, but it's kind of, like, not committed enough to being a cape.
You know,
It's just like a thing for a
that's such an
showgirl.
excellent description.
It's a bitch cape.
Yuri wears her bitch cape.
It's the back of a dress.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to call it, but now that I'm looking at it, it's missing. How could you? But other than that, yeah, the art update is very nice. Shit posting aside.
I feel like shitposting should not be put aside for this specific character. Because
We're the best shit posters on Earth here down
I
under.
feel like Key was an amazing character just because of the shitposting. I really, really love this model update. I gotta say, pour one out for the Yuri Space Pirate face. It's not there anymore.
It's just evolved.
Yeah, we got
We all have.
YSP Face 2.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Electric Q-Galoo.
Clap, 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 clap.
So, Arnie, when are you gonna update the Kyo Mischievous emote? Because that's my favorite emote on the dev server.
Emotes don't need updating. If people still like them and use them, they're fine.
People don't really use them though.
I use them.
People with Nitro use them.
That's true.
AKA Discord, sponsor me, please. I will shill your product.
I'm not a sellout.
Oh, that
Oh,
reminds me,
totally.
Arnie, now that we have you on this episode, can I ask you a question real quick?
You can ask me anything. Go for it.
Is this now the official SPNatI podcast? Because up till now, we were the unofficial SPNatI podcast.
I mean, we've had mods on before.
You'll have to ask Joseph Quintel. I can't make a decision that high.
Fuck! The one chance I had to ask him, and he's gone forever.
Feels bad, man. Well, I mean, he passed the torch to Viz. So is Viz our new
Nice.
our god mod?
That's true. He owns the domain.
Well, the dev server wasn't even official for like the first year, so it takes a long time. This podcast is only like 1 year and 1 episode old, so patience.
54 weeks.
No? Wait. Yes. Okay. I thought that was 2 years for a second. Don't worry, I'm just a dumbass.
I feel you, friend.
All
Do
right.
I need to school you on unit conversions
No.
for time?
It could just move to a
Um,
1 episode per year format after the first year.
Just to make it easier to count, huh?
Okay. Next update was the Haru image update. Arnie, why don't you start us off?
When I first saw the new Haru image, I have not played. Is it Persona she's from?
Persona 5.
Persona.
Yeah, so I've not played Persona 5. But when I saw it, I thought,
specifically Persona 5. Okay.
I mean, I haven't played any Persona. I haven't played any Danganronpa. I haven't played any video game ever. But except SPNatI. But when I saw the update, I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that. This hair, I don't know.
Clannad's a video game.
I haven't played it.
Just
but
watch the show.
when I now that I see her in game, I really like her. I think it really suits her. I think it really suits the writing that she already had. Yeah, big fan now. Initially skeptical, but won me over.
She's very fluffy, and I appreciate that, and I'm thankful for that.
I noticed because when I was testing, you had lines written to her comparing her to a sheep.
Yep.
At Uzu.
Yeah.
And I
She even
enjoyed that.
goes from sheep to wolf. It's
I'm
very
just gonna
good.
at Uzu real quick, and he's not gonna have any idea why.
As we do.
He's
This
gonna
is
have to
not-
like match up the time code in the in the podcast with.
This is not the first time I've pinged somebody in the middle of recording and not explained why. And it will not be the last.
I think the mark of a good art update like this is that you look back at the old model and like ask yourself how you found it acceptable, or it just makes you think, oh, it looks kind of bad. And I think that does that with Haru. She just looks way more accurate now.
Yeah. As somebody who has played Persona 5, Haru was not one of my favorite characters in the game because she's the last main party member you get. So she doesn't get as much time to shine as the other members of your group. But I think that Thursdays has really done a great job making me care about. There's Napsu typing in the podcast server. Thursdays has done a great job of making me care about Haru and being interested in who she is and stuff. So, props to her on that. Very fluffy hair, very cute. I like her sweater. She's definitely fills a niche that I don't think was filled before. And I'm glad that Persona is.
What is that niche?
Well, I'd say mommy kink, but it's not quite there. It's the soul of the blood of the wolf, but not the blood of the wolf.
The point is Hex likes her.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the hex niche.
Mm-hmm.
Freudian.
This hole was made for him. It's his hole. I find Haru to be a very enjoyable character. And I'm almost certain that when we get the collectibles for Haru, it's gonna be like an axe or something.
Fun.
That's the weapon she uses in game.
I mean, yeah.
I think she has an axe, and it's either like a shotgun or a minigun or something.
She has a grenade launcher.
That's it. Yeah, that's what it is.
I think I would have more fun if she just gives you a grenade launcher. But you know, an axe is fine too.
The last character featuring the corpse of Sayla. Sayla? How do you pronounce this one? I'm not sure.
I've never watched the Gundam she's from, so I have no
Same.
idea.
I've never watched any Gundam at all.
It has to be Sailor, right?
You gotta watch one. It's probably Sailor.
I don't watch Gundam. All I know is that Hiroyuki Sawano did the soundtrack for one of them. That's
Isn't
what
that
matters.
usually what
Sailor
gets
Mass,
you to watch anime?
Also known as Sailor My Ass.
Wow.
So, Arnie, what do you think of the Sayla update?
Did not expect to see Sailor again. That was a very cool surprise. I always like Sailor. I always like her forfeit sequence. I thought that was very funny. So any return that she makes is good. I actually like her original hair. I don't think a model, but there were no model changes yet. Is that right?
He was thinking about. Oh, sorry. They were thinking about one, but they haven't finished it or anything.
I think as long as like the personality of her hair is retained, I'll be happy. But yeah, I like Sailor. I felt like that she was one of the hidden gems on the roster. Maybe not for like repeated play, but definitely one of those you should play one game against her to see what she's about type of characters.
Yeah. Actually, the very first time I played Sailor was shortly after your interview, Andres, where I'm pretty sure you said Sailor was your hidden gems. And I read that and I'm just like, huh. And then I played Sailor for the first time back then. It's been a long time since then. And I don't 100% remember what she was like before. But you know, I definitely had fun playing her. I also liked her forfeit. I thought it was hilarious. Horse Killer, who seems to really like Gundam and mecha anime, has said that like that forfeit is completely out of character for her. But you know, it was fun.
What would be in character?
I don't know. I think she's the stoic type. And definitely not a huge Gundam nerd. But like I said, I haven't watched the Gundam she's from, so this is all going off like secondhand information.
It's disappointing because it's really unique.
Yeah. Again, from what I've heard, like a character from the newer Gundams, like Gundam Build Fighters, I think it is, would be more likely to have characters who can nerd it up and do something like that. But I digress. I think her model stands the test of time pretty okay. I know we're slowly becoming the age of one-to-one representations of characters, but you know, I don't see anything terribly wrong with Sailor's model. I think it's perfectly fine to keep it as is.
There's a lot of Photoshop work in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain or update her art because of that. So he picked a hard one to start with.
Oh yeah.
As far as adoptions go, someone adopt Videl. All she has is Kisake codes. It's easy.
Banana,
Do it.
the sun rises, the moon falls. Banana chills Videl. All is right in the world.
How the fuck is? I feel like we haven't advertised the pecking order enough, or the culling order, because I think someone would have saved Videl at this point if they knew she was about to be killed.
Okay, well, she's about to be killed, so you Dragon Ball nerds out there, if you want to save your waifu and get Spinanon to die for you, go and save Videl.
Someone please do it.
927-263, if you're out there, come back.
Yes, come back.
Or else somebody will make her into a really buff monster, like you didn't want.
I'll be losing a part of me. All right, she was why I started working on this game.
There's sentimental value here.
Mm-hmm.
If only there was a capable author who really liked Videl that might want to adopt her. I can't think of anyone. Can you guys think of anyone?
No,
I can't think of one either.
No,
not one.
no.
If there was somebody who really liked her, he probably would have adopted her already.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Anyway,
I'm not gonna do it.
you say that. Um,
I'm not gonna do it.
man is nothing.
Do you have
but a
any idea
liar.
how far behind with I am with all my other shit? I'm not touching her.
His mind is telling him no, but his heart is telling him yes.
I'm not even thinking about it. It's not gonna fucking happen.
I can't wait for Videl to next in line for calling and SPNatI just visibly sweating.
Because I could not bring myself to just like do the bare minimum to keep her there, because that's just the exact kind of thing I bitched about with Samus. And I don't want to put forth the effort to completely revamp her, which I know I do, because I completely changed Revy to be how I like.
Anyway, with Sayla, I had actually never played her before the update, so I have no idea what she was like before. But the impression that I got was that she was kind of smug, yet at the same time supposed to be stoic and collected, which is a rather interesting personality for a space pilot, mecha pilot.
Never been done before.
I'm curious, how did you get that impression without playing her?
Well, because I played her today.
Oh, okay. I thought you
So
meant
I don't-
before. Yeah.
Well, the impression. So I don't know what changed between the updates, but yeah, she felt like a smug, very dry humor, kind of taunty version of like Maya, I guess. Like she's very stoic and calm, but at the same time smug. I'm not sure if that the character, because again, I've never watched Gundam. But
I mean, Sayla came first, so
yes, I know, but I didn't play her first.
I just thought her art was really good and really unique. And it turns out it's because of all that photoshopping, but it's definitely worth preserving.
We're definitely in an age where a lot of the Kiskai artists could probably do it in engine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have 99 hair pieces now. If you can't make it in engine, then you're not enough.
I can't do it. It's too hard.
You can't.
I just don't want to because it's fucking boring.
It's okay. It grows on you.
Much like a tumor.
Hairpieces growing.
Well, God, both of you. Please stop.
All right. And with that, it's time for us to go over our upcoming project. Andres, why don't
1
you
second
start?
before that, I just thought we were going to be talking about Sakura on testing as well. So I play tested Sakura on testing.
Well, that was last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It used to be that we would talk about all the testing characters. I just want to say she's so cute. Adorable character. Yeah, amazing job. That's a very vague review, but I have not been able to finish a game with her yet.
Okay. So I guess it's time to move on to upcoming projects. Andres, why don't you start us off?
I've been making incremental updates to a lot of my characters. I feel like it's about time that I make some bigger ones, but I haven't done that yet. Nagisa, I've been slowly plodding along on doing an epilogue for. Army, I've I have the assets to do an epilogue, but I haven't done anything with that yet. Diva, I need to just do some fixes. I can talk more about existing character expansions sometime soon. I've also been doing a lot of trading card night at the inventory things, SPNatI. That's not SPNatI exactly, but it is something that's consumed a lot of my time recently.
So, Andres, besides Ami, what other character plans do you have?
I also contact the original author of Nugi-chan to secure permission to do a racy epilogue. When I did Nugi-chan's original epilogue, I was a little bit afraid to, I guess, put her in a sexual situation, given that it's effectively someone else's OC. But I got permission to do more with that. So even though I haven't made any action on that yet, I am thinking of it. There's a lot of things I could do. I have all of the tools and I have the ability, but it's just sitting down and actually doing them that's so difficult.
Make a hair-eating epilogue for that one guy who wants to eat Nugi-chan's hair.
There is some
Make it
hair-eating
collectible.
dialogue, but yeah.
Just
fairy floss hair.
yeah.
Is that because it kind of looks like ice cream? Like, what motivated him to say that?
I'm not sure, but according to canon, it's her natural color. So, maybe her hair is just fairy floss.
Wow, very false hair. I like it. I like it. I would be very excited about another Nugi-chan epilogue. I love Nugi. She's so great.
Yeah, she's one of the lesser-known characters, kind of like the sleeper hits, but she's fun for what she is. She has a couple fun gimmicks, especially the way she like remembers your size, which I should totally steal.
Yeah, you should. You should. There is a whole community out there, SPH, that are into that kind of humiliation is what the H stands for, and they are really into that. If you put that stuff in there and then you share it to those communities, they eat that up. So go for it. Steal it.
SPNatI as a whole seems to be like tailored for that because they literally give you the option and every character has dialogue for it. So those people totally gravitate towards the game.
Yeah, I put that on Rinka, and I'm pretty sure that Kari is into it. I'm gonna at him too. Just
I
calling
think
people
Kadi is
out.
into literally everything you've ever put on Tarinka.
I'm just gonna start adding people in this episode and talk about them. Just calling them out.
Nice.
Was he into the beach epilogue?
I think I hope that was before his time.
I
The
mean,
less people that remember that, the better.
I'm the one who encouraged you to do that, right?
You encouraged an epilogue.
Andres
far
was
as
the
I
devil
remember.
on your shoulder.
I think we haven't really talked much about the new. We haven't really talked anything about the new character selection screen, but one feature I like about it is when you click on a character, it'll say if they have epilogues, and when you click on that, it'll say the conditions right there. You don't have to hunt in the gallery anymore. And so that's
Yeah, I do like
really
that part.
So if a character only has an epilogue for males or for females, I don't think that matters so much anymore because it will just tell you.
I do like how all the meta info is one tab now instead of 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like clicking all between the stuff.
Because before that, you would have to like click credits to find out how many lines a character has, and like there's just like most people wouldn't even know that.
Yeah. Now all the information is right there. It's very
Yeah.
easy.
I just wish you could see the character's whole body. That's the only part that I really don't like.
Do you like feet and ankles?
I want their entire body.
I mean,
Even
could
their
maybe
little
ask Viz to make it a
toesies?
drop down.
I liked it better when the meta info was above their heads. Like I would at least like to see a little mock up when it shows like their details on the side to have that look like it used to. Like the standard setup of you have their full body shot and then the dialogue at the top. I think the info should be at the top in the same way.
Having a full body shot would make the character smaller in the current setup, right?
That's fine.
We might have to go back to like 4 columns to fit it. It's just working with the screen real estate we have.
I mean, you can scroll through them all. It's not really that big of a deal.
Maybe? I don't know, just ask Viz.
I see someone with the top 3 spots on the roster, but
SPNatI doesn't like the idea of having to share the top row.
Excuse me. That switch to 5 instead of 4 on a row pushed Maya down 2 spots.
Truly the worst possible outcome. Wait,
it did push her down
Maya
spots,
has
but
fallen in 3 resorts in a row, and every single one of them is just a result of rules.
no, it's
And
because
not
of
her
you.
performance.
It's the result of you
pushing
creating
your
characters
own
that push her
characters up.
down.
yeah, I see.
No, it's
I see
not.
more. I see more than 2 of your characters ahead of Maya on the list there.
No, there's only Jura is ahead of her. And that's the one character she could not lose to. Because it pushes her all the way down to page 3. And then, more rules. And, the switch to 5 instead of 4 pushed her down 2 more spots. And, she would be second place if not for the franchise rule.
That scroll bar does make it really easy to access pages 3 and 4 and 5, etc. It's no longer out of reach, which is nice.
I do like how she's no longer trapped on a page with the Doki Doki girls, because who the fuck is going to pick her next to the 3 Doki Doki girls?
Doki Doki.
Well, I mean, now you only have to contend with 2 of them.
Well, there's just more characters surrounding them
Fan
anyway.
Club.
True. It's okay. I'm on the other side of the Doki Doki girls now, so I get to feel your pain.
On the topic of you, Mystic, why don't you bring up what your current working projects are?
Well, a long time ago, I said I wanted to make Anja from Cross Anja, and I still do want to make Anja from Cross Anja. And now that I've finished doing big-ish updates for Shimakaze and a very big update for Emilia, I can actually go ahead and work on Anja from Cross Anja. Her model's been done forever. Most of her posing has been done, except recently I've just looked at the poses and thought, what was I thinking? So those are in the middle of being reworked. She's at 300 lines, but I haven't touched anything from stage 4 to 8. So it's still going to be a while before I get her out, especially since my own school semester is starting to enter crunch time. So it'll still be a while before you see her come out. But hopefully I can get her out before the second half of this year. We'll see.
I've looked at poses and asked myself, what the fuck was I thinking? Probably 100 times.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Some of these poses are just did I really think this is good? Is this really how human beings stand?
I remember I used to use a lot of blue blush, and recently I'm just ugh. I don't know why I ever thought this looked good.
Yeah. Well, so what else?
Your ways.
Yes.
Blue blush is.
If only you would see the error of your ways with side toes.
If only everyone else would see the error of their ways, but not side.
I'll use side toes more
tiptoes.
when they give me more leg options for them.
Tiptoes are better than side toes any day. You want your
mean,
waifu to have duck feet?
If you look at how character art of how your character stands, it will be side toes.
Not both of them. Maybe one of
To
them.
be fair to SPNatI, his waifu has crazy goblin feet.
Hey man, we don't
Your
talk
waifu
about
doesn't
that
have a
part
shirt.
of Mail.
My waifu doesn't have a shirt? You're saying that that's a flaw?
I don't know. Fuck you. She's a D-list Fire Emblem character.
You know? Yeah. Yes, she is. I love her more than the entirety of Nintendo does.
Johan's heart
Don't insult
is
my
so
source's
big.
art style. It was the 90s. It just turned 2000. It was a new futuristic way to draw feet.
So, besides Angia, what other things do you have cooking up?
Well, a long time ago I told
Wait,
Nessie
is it
that I
Angie
would-
or Ange?
It's like Anje, when you say it
Anje?
with the Japanese do. Her full name
Like
is
Sanjay?
I don't know. I'm a One Piece lit.
No, that's
Her full-
Sanji.
Oh,
I was just saying like generic Indian name.
that shows you how much I know. Her full name is Angelise, but she doesn't like that name for reasons. So she gets called Anja instead. But besides Anja, one day I will sit down and write words for Salt Mod. But recently Viz has tempted me with a different gun girl. MDR, who is
The shit
basically
poster?
yes,
The
she's
rectangle?
yes, both of these things are correct. She's basically like 4chan, Reddit, Discord trash, but also a gun, which is right up my alley because I am.
So she's
4chan.
underage?
No.
Because I sincerely believe that's the main problem with all of those sites.
Too many kids on them. Yeah,
Pretty much.
maybe.
Because you'd have to be a kid to think Wojak and Pepe are still fucking funny.
Hey man, I
Should I
use
just
Pepe.
at Hex
I use
now?
Pepe unironically. Oh yeah, at Hex.
You'd have to be a kid to not be fucking sick of them.
I mean, but like they just perfectly express the raw emotions I live in real life.
Well, a rectangle is the shape of a shitpost in the wild.
yes, that's somehow
A+
true.
character design.
They really thought about that one. But yeah, that's all I've got.
What if when she gets naked, her body is still a rectangle?
Square!
Boy.
Mike, the evil living building. So, SPNatI, what are your plans for after you save Vidal?
You can make your jokes. I'm not fucking touching her. I got sick of like aggressive tsundere high school girl with Ryuko. Alright, it's not fucking happening.
I think that's
You can
important
hear
too.
him
Like,
holding back his tears.
I have different characters that are different voices. If I think of a line, I can usually find a place for it, whether it's on Nugi-chan or whether it's on Nagisa. Like, but if I have two characters that are too similar, like for instance, very rarely will I think of a line and think that's great for Army because, yeah, she's not unique enough.
I remember you saying that once before, and I remember you saying, and they're never for Korra.
Yeah, I find Korra really hard to get into. I have to watch 1 or 2 episodes before writing because I just don't have her voice naturally. Some characters are harder than others. I remember Namaspa said the same too, that like is it Ochako and who else is it? Is it Marinette?
Marinette.
Yeah. That,
Yeah,
like,
they sound the same.
yeah, that they sound the same, and I'm sure he does a lot of work to differentiate them. But if he thinks of a line, he has to choose which character to put it on, and he can't put it on both. And so, like, they have to share that pool of lines, which is a shame for both.
Well,
That's
like
why that is why I'm giving Saki to Beta, so that I can just put those shy girl lines into Hanako.
Yeah, like Marinette and Ochako are just like they're both just like really well, they're superheroes for one thing, and they're like cute and optimistic and kind of embarrassed but supportive of other people, and yeah, they're just really similar. It's kind of hard to fall into that trap if you have a certain type of character that you really like.
And Matt's favorite kind of character that he likes are the characters that Napsu cosplays.
Well, he did like literally take a kid 6 feet under with his sweater heart.
He suplexed a child. He threw a
He
child
fucking
off
did-
a cliff.
He fucking went like "Omae womo shinderu," and the kid just exploded.
I have no context for this.
Namas beat up a child at a convention in order to steal his toy and then
That's
make
a toy
It was the
Eevee.
last one.
That's right. Was this on a
Last
previous
one.
podcast episode? Now that
Yes,
Yes.
it's been on several, and every time we bring it up, we take the lie a little bit further.
He climbed up onto the ropes and he gave the kid the people's elbow.
and
He put on sunglasses and unleashed the martial arts barrage.
and mass murdered a child's parents in front of him in an alleyway.
Now that kid is Batman. That child's name? Bruce.
So, yeah. Right, upcoming projects.
At least the tangents are more varied now, instead
That's
of all
true.
being Sonic.
It's
Yeah.
true.
A little bit of variety.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, just busy. Like I said last time, writing a bunch of replies, targeting stuff. Getting, whenever I make a new character, I feel like I'm kind of trapped in the bubble for a while, and it's hard to really engage with any of the new stuff because I'm still like busy building this character from the ground up. And then when I go back to update my old characters, it's like, oh fuck, there's so much to look at and work with. Like this round of replies normally doesn't take this long, but it's like 4 months worth. Let's see. I still need to update Rebby's epilogue. Give it a few more scenes. Might take out some stuff and just replace it with others, so it flows a little better. I think just in general, giving it a little less downtime. Let's see. Anything else? I'm not good. Okay, Vidal's not happening. You can stop saying that. Fubuki is just an idea. I definitely want to update Meia's and Jura's models as soon as I'm on a computer that can handle a code in Kisake that has more than 3 belts. Because right now, my laptop, I don't really believe in it. I did just give them some basic collectibles for winning against them, so I don't know if anybody took a look at those.
Yeah, I took a look at those. I didn't unlock them naturally, but I saw them as they came through in the merge request.
Mm-hmm.
I've not. I had planned to go and grab all the collectibles in one go later this week.
You can just unlock them all offline.
Yeah, but I'm not a coward.
Alright, whatever. But yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll probably make a few more collectibles. I still need to figure one out for Ryuko. I gave one to Meia, Jura, and Ray. But yeah, so probably the croquettes that we mentioned. Probably give one for playing Meia and Jura together. I was thinking if I have the image space left, one good thing to make would be like a Meia Jura dual epilogue.
Oh yeah, that would definitely encourage people to play them together.
Because that probably just is more natural than like a Meia Rebby one that I was thinking of before.
You could harness Jura's star power to get people to play Meia.
She doesn't have star power. She's a blonde with big tits and she flirts. She just attracts people that don't want to scroll far enough to find Samus. What?
She's number 1 on the roster. You were talking about how to define success in a previous episode. I feel like that is success. That is the star power of SPNatI.
Well, success for me would be Meia being number 1. Everything else is just kind of, oh, that's nice.
That'll be relevant to a question later down the line.
I don't think it's going to happen, but Jura just has more general appeal. But I'm glad people have responded to her and really like her. I think they function pretty well together, especially with all the little intricacies of how I can make them interact. Just because I know what the other one's going to do exactly. So it's fun putting that together. Just look forward to some model updates once I have a computer I believe in.
Can't wait to see what comes out of SPNatI slaving away at Kisake.
Not Not something that anyone else like Bagel couldn't put together in a couple hours, but
I mean, to be fair, Bagel takes like literally weeks to do his crazy fun stuff.
and none of it seems to reach SPNatI, does it?
I mean, he
One
got
day.
one in. Two in, actually.
Yeah, on the
Show
technicality.
Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he make Mr. Clean too?
Yeah.
3.
Wait,
And Kamina.
who's the third? Kamina, Show Tucker, and
Mr. Clean.
oh right. Oh right. I guess that part of me was just repressing that.
that is fine.
Are you
All
saying
right.
you don't like bald men?
It's nothing personal, Spinanon. I guess I should go over my upcoming projects.
So yeah, look forward to art updates, look forward to Revy epilogue updates. And more lines, always more lines. That's the easy part.
So I've got about 3 days off of work coming up soon, and I'm going to try to finish up the Akko images that NMASP needs for me. And then I think we're going to push for sponsorship. And then after that, well, I posted a poll on the subreddit recently asking people to provide feedback for my characters because I wasn't quite happy with how they placed in the resort. I feel like they could have done just a little bit better. And so, after listening to all the criticism and feedback, I decided that I was going to make one big chunky update where I add collectibles to the 4 characters that I currently keep maintenance on, which are Rinka, Chiaki, Kamina, and Hanako. And I'm going to add collectibles to all of them. I'm going to update all their dialogue. I'm going to try and get Hanako an epilogue. That's up to Yuri. A Kamina update, or Kamina epilogue if I have time. I'm shooting for an end of the month release. But the big thing is that Chiaki and Rinka are both getting completely brand new revamped models. I'm currently finished updating Rinka's model and finished reposing it. I still have to update her epilogue.
Does she have the beach epilogue back?
You know, one of these days, I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to reclaim it, and I'm going to do a bait and switch where it starts on the beach and then goes somewhere else.
Looking forward to it.
Do it. Bring it on.
Chiaki's got the model, but none of the poses assigned to it. And this is the part where I reveal something that I've been hiding all.
Okay.
So, once upon a time, there was a thing called the Extreme Exhibitionist Update, where 4 new characters were added to the game at once. This is no longer
SPNatI was
possible.
never the same.
This is no longer possible with the rules and standards set in place, because a creator can only have 2 characters on testing, and they also have to go through testing. So, I've enlisted.
And now only Moon remains. Oh no, I guess we brought back a spaghetti chef.
I've enlisted
the most
the
unlikely
help.
survivor of that.
I've enlisted the help of some co-conspirators to help me bring about the update that pierces the heavens. And we're working on co-releasing. It's me and a couple other people, and we're gonna all drop our projects at the same time. The massive Rinka and Chiaki model updates, the dialogue updates, and collectible updates for all my characters.
Is it all Fire Emblem characters?
Along with 2 new characters.
Are they Fire Emblem characters?
I'm not
totally
gonna say.
Fire Emblem characters.
I'm not gonna say, but what I will say is that
Are
one
they
of
Ruby
them.
characters?
One of them is from
Danganronpa?
One of them is from a new creator, and the other one is from an established creator.
So it's Cog with a Fire Emblem character?
It could be Cog with a Persona 5
Just the
character.
fresh breath of life SPNatI needs.
Could be Cog with a Persona 5 character. He is making Kodo.
Oh, yes, we don't have enough Persona characters.
I like surprises like this, so this is exciting.
Yeah, so we're me and the team, the people who will pierce the heavens. We're aiming for an update, the update to drop on the 31st of this month. It might be a little bit early, it might be a little bit late, depending on how much time we need. And it's very possible that we don't all make the deadline, but that is the goal.
For posterity, that is May 2019.
Yes.
The year is very important nowadays.
Yeah, when you've been around since 2016, it gets relevant.
It's the current year.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So hopefully we're able to pull that up.
Remember when we said to Hex that it's okay that you missed the February 2018 deadline because you can just release it February 2019?
Yeah. And
that was
now
a
we're
joke?
telling him it'll be okay. He can... It's funny. As long as he drops in February,
That's the grand goal. February in 20XX.
there's still that message pinned in SPNatI General, I think, where it's Valerie by Halloween.
Perfect.
Okay, and so so Akko, and then the update that pierces the heavens, and then Dor has gone and made a beautiful update to Janetta's model and passed me the torch. So I will be doing that after the update that pierces the heavens.
What?
That's
Which
very
model?
exciting.
Janetta
Oh,
from
nice.
Etrian Odyssey.
But Easter's over.
Not in my heart.
Oh yeah, I guess we were supposed to talk about the Easter costumes, weren't we?
Oh. Yeah, we were.
I forgot to play them.
Whoops.
I was busy with the resource.
They were all bunnies.
I
They
remember
looked cute.
them. Yeah,
Bunnies.
I like the Katria one.
AL is my favorite Fire Emblem character.
Oh fuck! What would her stats be in Fire Emblem?
I bet BK has a stat sheet for her.
About those Easter costumes, I really liked how Florina had dialogue that if both Katria and Florina had Easter costumes that she would acknowledge that. I believe it worked both ways, but they were all very cute.
Yeah. I do remember seeing that Florina has her own "Why am I in this?" and Katria also has a "Why am I in this?" Yeah.
Real talk though, Florina is the best character in the game. Changed my mind.
I don't like ENF all that much. I like a girl who's going to speak up for herself.
Okay, so I guess we should move on to questions and answers. So let's start off with the 15 questions the SPNanon can't answer. Since all of you who aren't SPNanon are mods in one way or another, what's it like? Arnie, why don't you start us off?
Mods suck.
Be
an
no
outlaw.
fun zone.
Being a mod is a lot of work. I think the major drive is that you have to want to help other players. So for most of what you do, people won't even know that you did anything. So you can't really expect a lot of recognition for that kind of thing. But as far as being a game mod goes, it's nice to be able to steer the game. I'm the second newest person to the mod team, and I'm just one voice. But I'm pretty invested in the future and the legacy of SPNatI. So being a game mod helps me protect it from directions that could hurt it.
I'd just like to point out that these people are mods for free. They do it for free.
Yeah, we do.
They don't receive any monetary compensation.
It is a thankless job.
Can you believe that?
There are people out there who want our...
Just imagine doing it for free.
I don't have to imagine.
You write Maya for free. And hey, you're an admin on the podcast server, so even then you do
you
it
just
for free.
made me an admin. I didn't ask to be an admin.
The only people worthy of being admin are the ones who don't ask to be it.
I do
Really?
appreciate the admin role just so I can threaten to ban people for saying wrong things, such as pubic hair is good.
Yeah, like that epic battle that we're having in SPNatI in general right now.
In what galaxy should fucking Shantae be hairy?
Now, I need you to...
She lives in the desert. She doesn't need insulation.
It's her signature move, though.
Yeah, that's the hair on her head.
So
That's just
Mystic.
your fucking fetish.
Yep, it is.
It has nothing to do with if it makes sense for her or the outfit.
So Mystic, what about you? What's it like being a mod?
Well, I am the newest social mod. I don't remember how long it's been, but it's definitely been a couple of months by this point.
Yeah, it's good we don't have too much turnover with the mods.
Yeah, it's for the best. I'm the night shift mod, so very little happens when I'm like at my most active because all of Burgerland is asleep and we don't have that many Euros on the server.
And all of the Euros we do have are synced to Burgerland's time zone.
America goes to sleep right when Australia gets off of work.
Yeah, so I don't usually have to do much. I do a lot of the boring admin stuff, like I did all the emoji stuff. I strong-armed my way into resorting the channels and getting my own little playground in the Hash Boatfuggers channel. Yeah, sometimes it's fun in games, like when we're shitposting in our little secret mod chats. And then sometimes it's just like the server catches on fire and we are scrambling in mod chat for a very different reason.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm the only person who's not privy to the mod chat on the social server.
Yeah, you're missing out on some
podcast.
Quality content in there.
It is
At least
about...
I have my integrity.
It's about 70% shitposting.
Yeah. Yeah, like mod chat is just the entire server condensed into one channel.
Yeah.
So you're not missing out on much.
You were making a post in mod chat, but you weren't?
Not
No,
yet.
I'm usually pretty good at keeping mod stuff to mod chat.
Yeah, we've had posts that we meant to put in other channels that we put in mod chat, but now they're the other way.
Yeah, we're usually pretty good about that. Keeping the deep lore secret.
It's like, I really enjoy this community and the people who are in it and interacting with it, so I'm perfectly happy with moderation and having to do it. It is a bit awkward and hard at times when you have to tell somebody that you're close friends with that they need to stop doing something. But that's just part of it. Like, you have to keep it fair. And it does get awkward at times because people keep bringing up politics in meme purgatory. It's like every other week we have somebody in meme purgatory saying something like, oh, insert controversial political opinion here. And no, stop it. This channel was a mistake. But yeah, it's chill like 90% of the time. Which Aussie has the better shitposts in mod chat, Arnie or Misty?
I don't think I've ever posted in mod chat, so not me.
No, you have. You
absolutely have.
Yeah, there's a very fun story about one of Arnie's shitposts in mod chat, actually.
And I know this because my answer is that you are the better, so you just shitpost less.
Yeah. Arnie is all about that quality and I'm that quantity. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to tell the story from mod chat, but I can't because it's deep lore.
Message
just
it
edit it out.
Message it to me and we'll see. Because there's a chance.
We could edit it out.
Well, it'll.
Well, I can summarize it. It was the one time where Andres accidentally guessed my high school.
Oh,
Yeah. Arndris isn't even in my state, and he almost guessed my high school, which is pretty great.
Is it like infamous?
No. Oh, okay. Sort of. It's not actually the high school I go to.
I mean, I just
went
looked
to,
up
rather.
the state and I just picked one at random. There was not a lot of thought going into it.
Yeah, and somehow he picked one like down the street from my real one. So that was pretty great.
yeah. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, I had a good laugh about that.
Was it a haha funny laugh or a nervous like? Does he know? Is he out there?
Oh, well, half and half. At first it was like a how? But then he revealed he's not even from my state. I'm like, okay. Very lucky.
Yeah.
Is Arndris willing to admit what state he's in?
I'm
Australia.
in one of the eastern states.
Oh, there's not that many of them.
I mean, there's 4.
Arndris?
I mean, 5, I forgot one.
we got a question.
Queensland is the one where all the wildlife kills you. Right?
I mean, that's
got-
all of Australia.
We got a lot of questions for you, Arnie. The first one is, are there any other card packs coming in the future for trading card night at the inventory?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate?
I can, yeah, sure.
Are you going to start selling booster packs?
Oh.
Well, I mean, part of what appeals to me about trading card night at the inventory is that it's not monetized. So no. But I mean, it really depends on what there's art for. The game is really the best source of art. So I mean, eventually one day we'll have like set 4, which will be like the forfeit set. But until then, I mean, we'll have to work with what we've got. I have the swimsuit edition like on my hard drive somewhere, so there's probably a lot of swimsuits we could use for like bikini set or whatever. I also held a Kiskathlon for animal costumes, so we've got quite a few of those, like the non-bunny ones. There's probably not enough for a whole set, but that's a good start. I owe people a Chiaki card for the Kiskathlon that you held, Johan. So that could probably be the basis of a set 2, like a circus set, but I'll just start with that card. We'll see how we go from there. There are more pixel cards coming. Dorian's already sent me those. There are more epilogues coming, but I'd like to give some space before I like to give people a chance to play the epilogue first before there's a card for it, because that's a lot of work someone put in, and I want people to see those scenes naturally. Underscore M3 has said that he might hold a Chibi Kiskathlon, so that could be a nice source of character art. But yeah, basically, it's just neat art.
Yeah, pro tip,
got
if
the
you
pixel
like
stuff.
SPNatI content and you want more of it, run Kisacathons and get people engaged in them. And you will you'll generate enough art, and then Arndris can jump on in and say, hey, let's
well,
make
I
these
did
into
hold
cards.
the Fusion contest, which I think still holds the record for the most entries.
Yeah, I went
And
through
that generated some cards.
I went through the entire history of the Kiskathon channel. There weren't a lot of ones that I could use for cards because either they were low resolution, people who don't know how to export their images properly, or they had backgrounds like baked in with no code. That's why when I hold a Kiskathon, I always ask for people to supply the code so that if I need to regenerate the image with no background or at a better size, I can do that.
So, do you remember when you were a kid and then like people traded like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the schoolyard? Imagine if they had tits on them.
Yeah.
Arndris, it sounds to me like we need a third fusion contest so that we can have some fusion cards.
That would be good. That would allow for more. There's only 6 cards in the future set, and there are precious few other ones that would even go, because there was tons of ones. For instance, Yuri made like a ton of great fusions, but a lot of them had backgrounds or no code or just really weren't suitable. They merged two characters that weren't from SPNatI. We have like a strong SPNatI focus on trading card night of the inventory.
All right. So here, next question. On the Discord server, you had a planned moon They want to know if that is delayed or cancelled forever.
Okay, so there's a story behind this one. I wrote out the whole story to Bluecoin, who missed it. So I might just quickly read what I wrote him, paraphrase some of it, because I think that goes over it the best. So stand by. So when I first pitched a moon rework to Mouse, he asked me if I was okay with sparks flying, and I was. I knew there'd be controversy, and I could weather that heat. People seem to have an inordinate fixation and open hatred of Moon, so obviously there would be vocal resistance to a rework. However, last month, or that is February, which is not last month anymore, I went on vacation. I had no cell phone service for 3 days, a few 3-day periods, and I had an unreliable connection the rest of the time. While I was away, the other game mods drafted and released a new sponsorship arrangement, one that requires more sponsors, requires observed flaws to be fixed, but removes the ability for a responder to reject a submission. But a few key figures on the social server did not take the sponsorship change as well. But specifically, they accused the game mods of rewriting the rules to advantage Moon, a character that could potentially get rejections regardless of the rework quality of which she was submitted. So I know these accusations were completely unfounded. Moon was not discussed when was drafting these, and I wasn't even present to be a voice in that discussion. But I do support the sponsorship changes. I think that was a good idea. When one of those 3-day periods that I had no service ended, I came back and it was discussed at the time on the podcast. The community was on fire. It might have been easily controlled if it was handled the first day, but it was way out of hand by the time I got there. There was a lot of name calling, expressions of distrust, largely directed at me. It was pretty unpleasant. So when I came, I assessed the situation. I realized what I had to do. I had to just amputate. There was no better way to demonstrate that the Moon rework was not a factor in the new policy than to just cancel it. This allowed the discussion to refocus on the pros and cons of the new policy instead of conflating it with an imagined motivation. So eventually the flames were put out. I suppose the detractors will never really know for sure, if I'm being genuine, if the two things were unconnected, but they were. So you can read my announcement on Moon's channel in mid-February. And it says if a Moon rework is ever on the cards again, it will be with no consideration to Moon's unique position on the roster. Specifically, she'll need to have canon support for her age without having to rely on being grandfathered in. The manga resumes shortly, I'm told, so it's possible that could happen. If it does happen, I'll likely reach out to Mouse again and see how he's feeling, because it's a big project. But yeah, we'll see. In addition to the above, I've stopped doing any dialogue work at all for Moon. If there's any bug fixes that need doing, I can do those, but I'm not adding anything new. And so if she gets cut from the main roster now for lack of targeted lines or another reason, then I'll feel like, well, now I can add more because she's an offline character. I owe lines from Moon to Maya, for example, and we'll see what the manga holds in the future.
Oh, I'm not going to force you to write those or browbeat you, but
hey, I want to let you know I watched FanThread to write these lines, so I'm writing them.
and it was such a painful experience for you.
No, I really liked it, and I liked Maya too.
Okay, thank you.
But who was best girl in Vandred in your eye?
There's no question. Parfait.
Parfait. Hex liked Parfait too.
She's the
She's pretty
green-haired
cute.
girl with the glasses.
Yeah.
Isn't her hair brown?
She's the girl with the glasses, right?
Yes. She's like the engineering. She's like the woman in engineering. That's like, I think a lot of them, because men and women are meeting for the first time, a lot of them are curious about the opposite sex. But I just like her specific curiosity. That's just a bit more pragmatic, I guess. But yeah,
All right.
that's all I really have to say about the Moon rework. So the short story is it is on hold or cancelled depending on what the future holds. But people really, really hate it, and that's okay. People are allowed to hate things, but I don't want that conflated with like mod abuse, because it wasn't mod abuse. I did ask for permission to rework the character before rejoining the mod team. I think that's also worth stating. But yeah. It's hard to know that. If you're not privy to those conversations, it's hard to really know what the sequence of events was.
Not everybody is able to see mod lore.
There's
No, this is
Parfait. I posted her.
There's a secret
That's
mod
phenomenal.
mod discussion that I can chime into.
All right.
I don't feel as if I have a fixation on Moon. I think Moon has a fixation on me.
No, I mean, obviously, Moon is referenced in every single episode of the podcast, but that's not even what I mean. I mean, people really truly hate Moon. They hate everything about her, which is understandable in some ways.
I think that as somebody who's begun work on a Pokemon girl, like I'd be enthusiastic about having to be tied to Moon in the resorts.
Well, she does have those lines going for her.
That she does.
How many votes did she get last time?
She did okay.
Let's check the numbers, shall we?
While we do
Check
that,
the roster.
Arndris, do you ever plan on releasing another character / updating your current ones majorly? Oh wait, you at least
Moon got 62 votes in a resort where 164 was the highest vote score.
So Arndris, do you
Kind of
plan on ever making a new character?
For as many diseases as Moon has, the biggest crippling factor is that she's attached to Misty.
I think Misty's in
Who
the
scored
top
a
10 to be
blazing
called.
score of 106.5 in a resort where the highest score was 952. Oh god, okay, no. Never mind. I thought Misty was like among the lowest scorers, but not quite. There's a couple double digits in here.
Regarding if I'll ever make another character, I think I don't think so, unless you count Sanako. That's probably the only other one. I've really only just started getting used to the character editor. I only switched over from Make XML just a couple of months ago, and I'm still getting my feet wet. There's a huge potential to do tons of lines in the character editor. I did some Nugi-chan fixes 2 days ago, and they were pretty easy. I like that. I said I wouldn't do another character, and then I did Sanako, so it's possible. I finished Sanako that I could do another one, but like right now I'm thinking absolutely not.
If you had to, who do you think it would be?
Well, see,
or like the source at least. What do you think you would pick?
Oh, I know that one.
There is actually another question in the set of questions that does ask kind of that question, so maybe I'll leave it for then. But yeah, there is another character that I would consider doing.
It's Nagisa's dad.
Yeah, get the whole family in there.
The family values table.
I'm with
He's
SPNatI
also in disguise.
I don't really play male characters. I appreciate them for what they do, especially Pit. I feel like Pit is the shining example of really trying to target every interaction, not just every character, like to the point where some people's computers can't even handle him. So I really respect that, but most of my games do not have a male character inside.
Arndris, what made you want to take a major role?
Oh wait, before we get there, am I still connected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, well.
Before we get there, we should also pay tribute to some of the characters that were active since last time.
All right.
Because I just thought of it. Kira and Zelda.
Rest in peace, Chloe Croy.
Oh yeah, also Craw.
Bit of a tragedy.
Zelda and Kira were specifically killed just to stop being a ball and chain in the resorts for their franchise mates.
Next year for April Fools, I'll make the ambulance and have it do a dual forfeit that runs over 8086.
You bring him back for April Fools and he'll just die.
Oh boy.
It seems like that's sort of like there's no hard limit on franchise mates, but it's almost like the whole like ride together, die together thing is kind of like the soft rule for that, because the more franchise mates you have to stick with all of them in the resorts. Or else sacrifice some of them for the greater good. So Team Zelda doesn't even have Zelda anymore. It's now Team Nehru.
Team Navi.
Team Nana. The
Team
first-
Oracle of Ages.
The first NA stands for Nehru, the second stands for Navi. Nana. And we get Batman. So, Andres, what made you decide to get interested in trading card night at the inventory?
I've played a lot of gacha games, and I like the free aspect. I can do a little bit of like graphics work for the cards I've made. I like for release images I've made for SPNatI. So I thought I could do this. I like playing SPNatI for the first time. You're like, I could contribute to this. And then once I started doing it, my head got filled with event ideas. And then everybody else left. Zucha left a couple of times, and Vision mostly left. He's keeping a hand in a bit, but he's not really actively working on it ever since the ARG finished. And so they kind of just left me with this big box of toys, which was very fun. I have these like really strong philosophies on what makes a game fun to collect and what keeps people playing. So I feel like if I pass that role on to somebody else, I worry they devalued all these cards that I've like kind of like have a good spot in like the card economy, if that makes sense. But I guess that's really why I'm continuing. But why I got there in the first place is I thought I could contribute, just like people think I could contribute a character to SPNatI.
My one complaint with SPNatI is that it clogs up Discord search results for character
Yeah,
names.
it does.
I completely agree with that. I wish there was a way to exclude a channel or a.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you block the bot, it won't come up in your search results. I'm told.
No, I tried that.
Oh.
It seems like it still showed up.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think that's the one downside to having it there. You can still search on the dev server for your own name or your own characters' names to see where they're being discussed. But yeah, it's not as easy on social.
Can you like? Well, if you search it on the dev server, you just get like bug reports.
That's true too. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say Viz has brought about so much innovation, but he's destroyed the search function.
Well, now he just has to write a bot that searches and excludes other bots.
I bet he could.
Why not just make SPNatI a separate server?
I think the
then
damage has been done at this point.
then people wouldn't discover it, and it would just die out. That's why.
Well, you could just put like a link to it.
No, it wouldn't work.
All right.
I thought of another idea though, just while discussing it. You know how people can use those weird fonts for like their usernames or whatever, and they're hard to type in. What if all of the card names came through in that weird font, so that when you typed in search, it didn't come up?
That'd be good.
I'll suggest that to Viz. We'll see if we can get something happening with it. It'll look very cursive and elegant.
Yeah. Also, change Revy Lee to just Revy.
I already did that. I changed it to Rebecca Lee.
Okay. And let's see, the last question for the Arndris gauntlet of questions is, how's the rework
Do you have all
of...
the Infinity Stones?
It's banana. I don't feel so good.
Oh,
I don't want to go.
All right, I guess it's up to me.
How is the
I have to
rework
host the
of
podcast now.
Sonica going? I miss her. She was really cute and sexy and attractive character who dressed the player with ludicrous intent and get my vote for what it's worth.
The Sonica rework is on hold right now, but I haven't forgotten about her. I was slowly working through reposing some of her images. I was taking on model critique and rotation critique, etc. I'm pretty happy with how her posing was mostly, but I agree there could be some more body rotation. Horsecat's been doing the Photoshop work for me. Horsecat is very helpful there, and I really like his work. But recently I asked him to work on a piece of hair for Nagisa for an epilogue. She has like an extra scene coming from her starting out epilogue, and it's almost done. But like the hair, when you look at her face from the angle she's at, just needs to be an extra little piece there. And I don't want to ask him to do two things at once because he's already very kind to do one thing for me. So when he finishes that, I'll send him some more Sonica images. So stay tuned. She'll return to testing when there's something new to test, but I won't push her back to testing until people can play her and say, hey, there's something different this time.
All right. And with that, it's time for Mystic's questions. Mystic, on the topic of that box scroll you wanted to make earlier, do you worry about presentation? Characters are Shima and Remy.
I appreciate that someone's worried about me. But you don't have to worry because I've
How do
already
you
got
think his
that
ancestors
reputation.
got sent to Australia?
Yeah, there's a reason
I
I'm
can
down here in
almost
criminal
hear the
land.
hounds.
So, okay, I'm serious when I say it's a coincidence that my first two characters are Shimakaze and Ramika, and that they're both small. I only made Shimakaze because when I played SPNatI...
Make Tatsumaki.
Oh, stop. No, I only made Shimakaze because her model is a default in Kisekai. So, when I first played the game and was first convinced to make a character, I knew that writing I'd probably be okay at, but it's the art that I have, like, zero skill at. So back then I loaded up Kisekai, and I was just getting used to the features, and I found the Shimakaze default model, and I'm just like, perfect. I have to do literally nothing for the model. I just have to pose it. You know, that model got reworked anyway, but at the time I was just like, oh hey, this makes it so easy. Shimakaze is, like, not my favorite character from Kankola at all, and there are lots of characters I would have written before her, but it's just the fact that she was in Kisekai that I made Shimakaze. And Ramilia's my testing bed for doing stupid things. Because at first I was just like, I want to do a time stop gimmick. Anyway, that took me a while to do, but I did it. And yeah, if I had actually released a third character, back when I was on break and I planned to, wouldn't have to worry about these accusations because I would have stopped making small characters. But alas, I now have a reputation. But thanks for worrying about me.
Yeah, alright. Speaking of that third character you were thinking of, for Mystic Knight, a yokai? Really? Okay. The people behind Toho made this one appear as a cute anime girl rather than as an old umbrella with eyes, but, well, maybe you have to know Toho to understand and I don't.
So, the big theme when it comes to Toho as a franchise is it's all about folklore. The developer's Japanese, so it tends to do Japanese folklore more than Eastern folklore. And a lot of Japanese Shintoism is the idea that there are gods in basically everything. So a lot of characters are just like, this is an object. But also a cute girl, which is a bonus. Like...
That seems to be a trend with the games you enjoy.
I mean, maybe. Coincidence, I swear. So that character who I was working on, and her name all of a sudden isn't coming to me. You'll have to give me a second. Oh yeah, Kogasa. So Kogasa is the character that this person is talking about. Unfortunately, Kogasa is no longer something I'm working on. I just, like, couldn't decide on how I would write her voice because she doesn't have a very defined personality, unlike Ramilia. But the whole thing with her was that she was cute. I wanted to try playing with a prop and doing really fun visual gimmicks, which is something I do a lot with my characters just because it's fun for me. But yeah, you don't have to worry about understanding her because she's not coming for SPNatI for a long time. I might reuse her for a certain something.
Alright, and thus begins the questions that SPNanon can ask. Question 1. With a lot of sudden adoptions like Kim and Sayla, who do you think are the most / least likely to get an adoption and rework?
Least likely, Videl.
This is so sad.
No, I heard that SPNanon was doing it.
We can dream.
It's not gonna happen.
Sarni, what about you? Stuff.
I think the most likely, this is the difficult one for me. I think least likely is pretty clear. I think Bai is the least likely to be adopted. He's an OC. He's not super well liked. I mean,
it's not the main game, so...
but
he can't get a rework. He was never worked.
You can't adopt OCs.
I mean, you could always
Yeah,
reach
that's why
out
they have people
to Ty Daisy 95 and ask to adopt, but I don't think that will ever happen. I think Bai is dead. But
Is that how you say it? I thought it was Ty Daisy, kind of like
Uh,
TJ Henry Yoshi.
depends. He's really a fan of this like Ty. I think it's Ty the Tasmanian Tiger game, and that's where Shazza is from. So I think it's Ty Ty.
Okay.
Like Tyler or something. I think the most likely, I had to think about this is the challenging one. I think it's Ayano, from Yandere Simulator. Had a model posted by Andrew in March 2017. And then there was a whole bunch of controversy about that in July 2017. But then Yuri Space Pirate posted a model of the same character in September 2017. And then Kung Fu Charlie, a third person, added her to testing in October 2017. So even though I think
remember her. She was on Maya's first ever testing table.
Yeah, so even like she's been discussed back and forth. I think the fact, even though Yandere Simulator and Crush, the other game she's in, not really like the talk of the town right now. I think the fact that she's in SPNatI keeps on reminding people that she exists. And I've heard several people like write lines to her or talk about her. I think if there was to be another adoption on like where no activity has happened recently, that's probably my guess.
I very briefly, as in like 1 or 2 messages, thought about reworking Ayano because I just fell in love with the model. Obviously I didn't actually follow up on that ever. But yeah, actually that's an answer. That's a really good answer.
Well, who do you think is least likely?
Bye.
Yeah, any of the OCs, because you're not allowed to.
See, I think if you reached out to the original author, I think you could. I mean, Nuki-chan is technically an OC, so she got adopted.
Well, everyone is someone's OC.
Misty Knight, what were your answers?
Well, I didn't actually. I really had no idea. I mean, I'm looking at all these offline, and
for example,
don't
Maya
see many
is
of them.
Hideki Anno's original character.
At this point, she's your original character, SPNatI. Yeah, I don't know. Just reminding me that Ayano exists makes me agree with your answer on Ayano. But as for least likely, I guess someone like Chell? No, because people have ideas for Chell. I really maybe like Metaton. I can't see someone being brave enough to dig up Metaton and try to do it better.
People want to redo Captain Falcon.
I've seen Zeus.
Yeah, but I think Falcon and Metaton are two different.
Interesting Captain Falcon.
Before the Extreme Exhibitionist update came out, people were really excited to get Metaton. So I'm not sure if people are willing. Well, I don't know. I didn't even know who that was. I'm not sure if people are willing to go back into something where it's not like a character where there has been very little work done. It's not like 6 poses per stage and like 200 lines. There's a lot to Metaton, so there's a lot to. I think that's more of a challenge because you want to at least match the work that was done if you're going to do a rework, right? So I think you're right. I don't think that will ever happen.
I think people only like Metaton because he's from Undertale.
Yeah.
And if he was an OC, nobody would like him. It's the same thing with Shara. People would not want her back if she weren't from Undertale.
See, okay, you might be right there, but Master Sunday's rework is looking pretty capiche, you know? Pretty good.
The Shara?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks good.
Let's see.
Coming from Marceline's. Is that how you say it? Marceline's creator. And he every so often like posts poses for Shara that are like really heavily like drawn and edited, but they look good. Lots of unique angles. And he posts them on like the dev server and 4chan.
Heckin' artists.
It's really cheating, isn't it?
Over us corn farmers, and they're out there big city artists.
Kisake is just like the crutch that we use so everyone can be something of an artist. And some people have just exploded past those limitations.
Alrighty. Bananon, what about you? What do you think is going to be the most likely and least likely to get reworked?
I'd like it. I'd like it if Fidel got adopted and reworked.
I'm sure somebody out there who's listening to this will realize that you will literally die if they do it.
I wouldn't literally die for them. I'd just like it. Least likely? I don't know. It's hard to go through like the offline list. I remember someone on 4chan wanted to like remake Daphne, but that never went anywhere. There's a lot of options. I'd love to see Tifa, but I think Tifa kind of falls into the same line as a lot of the older characters, where she's not really the popularity draw that she was a decade ago.
Or two decades ago.
Yeah. Like in 2007, Tifa was hot shit. But in 2019,
if
kids
they
don't care about Tifa Lockhart.
if they time
At least
it
not
to
until
like
that Final
the
Fantasy
Final
VII
Fantasy
remake
VII remake,
comes
yeah.
in 2035.
Well,
I don't know.
I think-
Kingdom Hearts 3 eventually came out, so
Well, she wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 3.
no, I'm just saying as an example of something that did eventually come out.
Okay.
Merlin's thinking of getting Alice, the Snake Alice, back on testing. I'd like to see her again. I liked her.
Yeah, I think
She was
Ferlin is
interesting.
back, so...
Captain
Okay.
America, I have faith that Zeus will eventually finish the job there.
We need it. It's America's ass.
Plus, he can spoil Endgame.
I think I have a pretty confident in my answer with the most likely to get an adoption is Saki Yoshida, because I have actively been giving Beta permission to work on Saki. And
Is someone going to adopt Gay Spaghetti Chef?
No, I don't think so.
Gay Spaghetti Chef is already perfect.
I keep asking people to put the pizza pasta, put it in a box lines in for him, but no one's gonna do it.
Be the change you want to see in the world when you can.
I don't want my name associated with GSC.
You can be Alan Smithy. Someone's probably going to save Samus from the pit of death again, just because they personally hate me.
Again.
So I'm handing Saki over to Beta.
And it's going to be Namasp.
I think that the least likely character to get an adoption or rework is Charla.
Who?
That's my point. There are like 10 Xenoblade fans, and none of us like Charla the best.
Did you know that?
Oh, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, did you know there's no trading card night of the inventory card for Charlotte?
Why the fuck not?
On purpose.
I've never heard of this character. Actually, that was you just.
Are you serious?
She just never made one.
Oh god, being a Xenoblade fan is suffering.
Poor Johan.
Okay. Question 2. What Australian characters would you like to see in SPNatI?
Who's in there already? Shaza?
Yeah, that's it.
Is Shaza a hateful stereotype?
Yes.
Is Captain Boomerang a hateful stereotype?
I don't even know who that is. I thought about this question too. There's not many characters to choose from. I did like searches online for Australian characters in media or just Australian characters in general. I think really the only answer I could come up with is Junk Mouse. That is like a fan-created female version of Junkrat from Overwatch. Junkrat is very overly Australian. But to me, Australians just aren't sexy. It's possibly nobody in the world thinks that they're sexy, but yeah, there's not many Australian characters to choose from. So if someone else can think of a better answer, I'll switch to that. But for now, it's Junk Mouse, like Rule 63 Junkrat.
I was going to say, if you're into dudes, you can make the sniper from TF2, but it turns out he's from New Zealand in the comics.
Oh god. Wait, that's so sad. Yeah,
That's
I
why
also had a really.
he's not under the effects of Australium, and he's not super buff like Saxton Hale.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I also had a really hard time of like thinking of Australian characters. I
It's
know
just
that.
America, really.
Yeah, I know that there's a character in the anime Free who's is either Australian or is like exchange in Australia or something like that.
Yeah,
And that was the closest thing I could think of to like a character someone would want in.
I know who you're talking about. Once
Is there like
Sure.
an Australia Chan in Girls und Panzer?
No,
What?
Australia is the one like country group that they just haven't shown yet. They've shown their school and like their school logo and everything, but not the characters.
there's probably somebody in Italia or whatever.
yeah. There's an
They'd
Australian
probably
in
be
Italia,
Australian.
but it's a guy, so
But the day that we
Yeah.
get an
It's rough.
Italia character in SPNatI is the day that I throw up the red flag, the white flag, or both.
The French flag.
Not a
The
fan.
only Australian female I know in recent date was one of the operators from Rainbow Six Siege. That's like the only female Australian that would come to mind at all. So I guess that's my answer.
So, follow-on question, Misty Knight. Would you actually want to see another Australian character in the game, or could you just like completely go without, like me?
I think I'm okay without any more Australian characters.
Me too.
That's fine. We don't worry too much about our reputation in SPNatI.
Rin Matsuoka
There you go.
is the Australian, but
Yeah, but he wasn't Australian. He was
Yeah,
on
he's
exchange.
that's what I thought. He's not
I've
actually.
watched that season.
not actually Australian. He went overseas for a couple of
His
years.
like exchange student family do get voice dialogue, or at least the dad does. But like they're like an older couple. They're not really. They're like
Mm.
one scene.
They're not SPNatI material.
Revi's an American character. I feel proud of my country's representation.
By the looks of it, that guy from Free continues to live in Australia, so he's an Australian citizen, but not Australian.
What
I've
is
only
an
watched.
Australian?
I've only watched the first two
Aboriginal.
God.
I haven't watched Free at all. It's not my kind of thing.
I've watched almost all Kyoto animation anime. I've missed the last couple.
As expected. I'm not surprised at all.
All right. Who do you think the most normal character is? The least normal.
So that's another dual question. I think the most normal is probably Saki, as opposed to just like a normal character put in the situation, reacting normally. I think like the least normal has to be Kool-Aid Man. But if we're going main roster only, Gay Spaghetti Chef.
Is Kool-Aid Man more normal than AE86?
I mean, a car exists and can play music, right? But there's no such thing as a Kool-Aid Man.
Kool-Aid Man is like a life form, though.
A Kool-Aid Man is a myth outside of him. We don't believe in it. It's an American conspiracy.
Yeah, that's right.
I think. Oh wait, yeah. I'll go last.
Mystic, you're up.
I mean, well, okay, I think AE86 is the least normal character. If we're talking about main roster, I made a girl who's a boat. That's pretty not normal.
I mean, there's a lot of like boat-like origins on the roster.
Yeah. As for most normal, once upon a time I thought to myself that Ryuji was like super normal. Even though
Ryuji.
he's a fandom thief and everything.
It's pronounced Ryuji.
Did I butcher it?
You said Ryuji.
Is fucking
It's okay.
Johan correcting your pronunciation?
I blame it
Ryuji.
on my accent, I swear.
Yes, your very Australian accent.
Yeah, no, I think Ryuji is like really, really normal. Even though he has like got more specialness to him than Seisaki. I don't know, Ryuji just strikes me as like a regular dude.
What about you, SPNatI?
Well, Xander's one quality, other than looking like Leonard from the Big Zimbabwe Theory, is being the most white bread motherfucker on the roster.
Not gonna lie, I forgot Xander existed.
That's a good point. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. He's so normal that he keeps avoiding getting cold.
I kind of just
The
want to
Grim
see.
Reaper just passes over him.
I kind of want to see how long he'll make it. Like,
I know.
I
I'm rooting
don't-
for the guy.
I don't want him to go. Like, there's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction part of me that almost wants to watch whatever his source is and just feed him enough lines to keep him in the game.
You don't know what his source is.
No, I know nothing about his character besides the
Well,
fact that
Buffy's friend.
I don't know who
That's
Buffy
why
is.
he's not in targeted line culling, because they talk to each other.
Ah, okay.
They do talk to a lot of characters from the era.
But would you watch Buffy?
I would watch Buffy if it meant that I.
No, but
At
would
this
you watch
point-
Buffy or Big Bang Theory is the question.
Big buff theory.
Big Buff.
It just had its finale, right?
Uh,
The
so who do you
buff,
think
the
is
buff bang theory.
who do you think is the least normal SPNatI?
It's hard to not pick one of the April Fool's characters, so let's I'm gonna try to restrain this to like main roster. Let's take a look here with our handy dandy. Just scroll through here. Twilight is a horse who doesn't understand clothes. That's pretty weird. Beatrix has a giant fuck you syringe. Marceline has no eyes. Spooky also has no eyes and is dead. Nugi-chan has edible hair. 9S he has a large head. Navi is a ball of light when you select her. I think that about covers things. Oh,
So
Meg
what-
talks about poop.
And
you've
which
ever
one is
played
your
her.
top Bananon?
Now you know why nobody votes for her. There's also Gay Spaghetti Chef, and I just realized that on the new meta info there's show less, and I think we should all be hitting that button because I want to show a lot less of Gay Spaghetti Chef.
I think that Xander is the most normal character, but I feel like the least normal character probably Monica, since she actively fucks with how the game works.
That's true. Also, can we talk about how Xander's hair fringes go directly into his eyes?
I don't know. I don't
Ouch.
look at
He
Xander
looks
that
like
much.
he's in constant pain.
He doesn't have hair.
Like how
He has eyelashes before it was cool.
it looks like they're puncturing his eyes.
I mean, that's what my hair does.
I think it's a sign to cut your hair if it's
It
puncturing
arcs
your
directly
eyes.
into your eyes.
Yep.
For normal
And stabs
characters,
them.
I want to give special mention to Ami Kawashima and Meg.
Meg is from a weird zombie. Ami.
Yeah,
but-
but Megan
She's a normal
Spinelli is
character.
like is it as Josh describes her as like very girl next door.
Alrighty. I guess.
Ooh, Meg.
Yeah,
But she talks about poop. I don't want that.
but that is a very normal human.
Yeah, but it's like every line.
Is it?
Is it really?
I've never played a Meg.
Well, go ahead and give it a shot. But only after
Uh,
using the bathroom.
I don't think it's that bad.
I wonder if anybody has targeted lines for Meg in a game with Bai. And if not, Cog.
Why not?
Cog. It's it. I'm giving you free real estate.
I think the line that she says is like if someone removes an accessory, she goes poop. I call epic poop. And that should just be a targeted line for buy.
She's not calling for epic poop. She's just expressing her displeasure.
Just a global case playing with bi. Poop. I call epic poop.
A global case will play on every line if it was unconditional.
Global case of
That's the
priority
point.
999.
If bi is there, how can you say anything else?
Oh god.
What is a SPNatI character that you tried to like, never really clicked with you?
Yeah, for me, it would be 7 of 9. I think, I did try to like her, because I was like, I think that was when I was solo modding. I was having to do a lot of the work to put her into the game, from her original author. But who was actually, maybe I won't say who that was because I'm going to say that I don't like him. I think the problem is that 7 of 9 is based on an attractive actress, but I don't feel like that model captured that actress's attractiveness. So with that element removed, she just looks very like stern and matronly to me. And so, well, I don't have a problem with her dialogue or any of her content. Just like she's centered around something that was not fully captured because I'm not familiar with her source material.
All right, Mystic. What about you?
So I don't think it's a secret that I don't play SPNatI very much. And generally when I do play, it's me fishing for lines, so it's a hellish experience. So there's a lot of characters on the roster that haven't really played much, haven't really looked at much. So I'm sure there are lots and lots of answers. As for characters I have given a go at, I couldn't really like Sayori. Like, I don't know. It's pretty much just because of her character and what she has to do to be Sayori. But I don't know, I just didn't really like having that in my strip poker games.
But she'll always be your dearest friend.
Yeah. And in a bit of a shitposty answer, every time Miko targets Remilia and I have to write the response to Miko's line, I feel like tearing my hair out. Because Solitaire always writes lines to Remilia in a way that is meant to piss both me and her off. So I sit there yelling into the void whenever I have to read these lines and respond without just like sending a lance right through Miko's chest. That's what Remilia would do.
Solitaire is so great. He's got these 10 million IQ plays.
Now you know the full experience of writing for Revy.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it, SPNanon, because you actually do it. I sit there and yell and don't do it until Solitaire makes me do it for my first sponsorship. Oh yeah, that was a very frustrating experience. Purposefully so. Kudos to Solitaire. But my god.
It's not fun writing lines that threaten Jotaro. Because I know how that would go down.
Time stop the world. Star Platinum.
Ora.
Yeah, alright, real proud of yourself. You won because you have a fucking cheat code.
Jotaro doesn't care about honor. Jotaro doesn't give a shit about about fighting, not fighting dirty. He's like perfectly okay with beating up women.
What an asshole.
I actually have some information about Sayori for when the answers on this question are done.
Okay, well, then
she killed herself.
SPNanon, why don't you answer and then I'll go.
My answer is Rinka.
You know, at least you tried. At least you tried to like her. And you know what? Hopefully the new update will make you reconsider.
Well, my main problem with her was her waist was too thick. She looks like a barrel. You'll notice that all my characters' waists are on the thinnest setting.
The waist is being feigned, and also she will be losing the ahagao and heart.
And the what?
And the heart pupils.
The heart pupils. I thought that was your favorite part.
You know, it doesn't suit her.
And yet you think it's okay to just shove pubes onto Shantae.
You know, if you look at the chat,
Yeah, Johan took one for the team and switched over.
I don't think you're a bad writer. It's just some of the lines can come out a little flat, and maybe they're just old lines that I'm reading.
perhaps.
I think you just need to embrace more of the sexuality aspect.
Yeah, that seems to be the feedback that I've received the most. So that'll be a thing that happens, especially with
Bless
Chelsea
you.
and Rinka. Okay.
Also, can we talk about how unsettling it is that for months now, Locke has had her gun pointed directly at Vidal's head in the character select screen?
Vidal
Just
knows
making
that she
fun of
doesn't
me.
have long to live.
That was my implication.
So I think my answer is Link, because I'm a really huge Zelda nerd. And I guess to some extent Zelda as well, because I feel like those two characters are such big pop culture icons that their representation in SPNatI was kind of a letdown. I'd love to see those two be revamped, expressed in a Link rework, and I think that BK is interested in bringing back Zelda. So
That's
hopefully,
actually because Zelda's been reworked before, and she used to be really bad. I feel like she's so much better than she used to be. What are people looking for now? Are they looking for a different Zelda? Because I feel like the kind of reserved, proper princess angle is done like serviceably.
I think they weren't looking for a different Zelda. Like, I don't think he had updated Zelda in a million. Maybe like more targeting, probably model revamp to keep up with the modern models. Maybe an epilogue, just something that wasn't there.
Twilight Princess Zelda, still my favorite.
That is some high culture. I'm more of a oh god, I can't even remember now. Never mind. I can't even remember the name of the game.
What, Skyward
What were you
Sword?
talking about?
Skyward Sword, that's it!
There you go.
Oh.
I only really know the Zeldas from like the Zelda 6-panel memes.
Yeah.
And from those I do like the Twilight Princess Zelda.
Alright.
I don't know about that version of her. Oh, you know what Team Zelda really needs?
What's been on?
The Groose is loose.
Oh yes! Yo! I should try to get somebody to help me make the Gruesinator for Fool. The SPNatI needs that pompadour.
Oh boy. Make it happen.
I need to get Bagel on the model, and I need to get Viz to code it so anytime you play with him, his theme song starts playing. All right.
I have that Sayori information if you're interested.
Oh yeah. What's up?
Yeah, hit us.
So Vision's been doing analysis into retention rates, like specifically people who come to the game and they play their first game, depending on what character they play with, how likely are they to play another game. And so I have like the top 5. So this is the global retention rate is 14%. So if someone plays a game, there's a 14% chance that they'll play a second game, which is not high, but I mean, that just gives us a base point to start from. So the absolute most popular character insofar as returning games, not necessarily a number of games, is Cammy. Cammy, the new Cammy, is the top, 19%. Then Mahiru is second, and
Yes!
Sayori is third with 17.5%, which I think that's very interesting. In fact, The main reason he's been doing it is he's been looking at the new UI and trying to see if that changes. To see if that changes based on the way the new things are. We don't really have enough data for that yet, so I think this is the last 6 weeks of data, so it goes well beyond the new UI. The fourth character is Tracer, surprisingly.
Okay.
And then Pinkie Pie. So people who play those 5 characters, Kami,
who's the
Mahiru,
fifth character?
Pinkie Pie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Kami, Mahiru, Sayori, Tracer, and Pinkie Pie. People who play those 5 characters, they're the most likely to play another game, which I find fascinating. Sayori
Tracer, I did not expect.
Is not the DDLC game, character that I expected. Tracer does not have a lot of targeted lines ultimately. So there's a bit of things. There's a few like we don't have enough data yet, so we won't go into like the bottom of that table, but the bottom is like really weird, like you wouldn't expect. I think that's slightly influenced by the first few pages being in the old UI, basically all you would see. So people who weren't particularly interested or engaged might have only been looking at those characters. So once we get like a few weeks of new UI data, I hope we can get like an updated table and maybe release something.
So can we not see the full list?
No, the thing with the full list, and I think it goes into the play statistics too. Like being told you're at the top is great, it's fantastic, but being told you're at the bottom is a really bad feeling. And there's not many truly bad characters on the roster anymore. Maybe there's a few, but there's very, very few. So the bottom half is filled with goodness. So in the resort, for example, Nagisa was in the bottom 50% of the resort, and like she's still really okay, but it's not really like very motivating to me to know that she's considered below average. And I feel like that kind of thing is probably the main reason for not releasing those kind of statistics. Yeah, because like for instance, there might be a character in the bottom 10 that's an excellent character in like this retention rate, and maybe in the future, if we've got the new UI and we feel like people are seeing all the characters, that could be an interesting thing to go into. But yeah, I think it's more better to encourage people by telling them they're in the top than discouraging them by telling them that they're at the bottom. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like raw data of all of the like the play counts, for example, do you think that would be discouraging, or do you think that would obviously be encouraging if you're at the top? But how do you feel about that?
I think that I'd rather be I'd rather have somebody be brutally honest with me than try to cushion the blow. Because if somebody tells me straight up, this character is not popular, it would tell me, okay, then it looks like I could either if it's a character that I would care about, like Rinka or Chiaki, I could be like, okay, then I should prioritize this character. Or if it was a character that I didn't care about, Saki or Kira, it would tell me to I should just let that character die out. It would help me prioritize if I had the data and knew which character, even if they were bad, it'd still be better feedback than none.
Sure, I feel like resorts give a taste of that, and I think you're turning the Rinka feedback into a model rework was like definitely you turned that really, not as positive feedback into motivation. But I feel like it's very easy to.
Yeah, not everybody is me in that regard.
If you get comments on your work, if you've got a YouTube video, or if you've got like an artwork or whatever, and people can leave comments, there can be 1,000 good comments, but just one bad comment that says, "No, you're terrible. You shouldn't be doing this." It's just like can be really discouraging, and I feel like that's what those kind of like that bottom half is.
I would like to see that sort of stuff on occasion. It's just that I don't know if you could put together some kind of long-term average, because I just feel like it's I don't know, but I suspect that it kind of changes dramatically from week to week.
I don't think it does change a lot. I think the actual play counts really are based on characters that people are familiar with. Like, for instance, Diva, for example, probably gets more plays than she's worth, and I'm sorry, to share that. Like, I'm not trying to like have an unfair advantage there, but I feel like Diva really gets more attention than she deserves. But she's not particularly well placed on the roster, and it's only because people have heard of Diva and they like Diva, the Overwatch character that they play. Whereas, for instance, I think Angie's probably a good example because she's an OC. Because she's an OC, nobody's thinking, oh, there's my favorite character in the world, Angie, because nobody has ever heard of her. So if people are playing her, it's more of a deep cut, and so she's just going to have a lower play count. So insofar as that, there's not really like more valuable information you could get from that than you could just go to, like, for instance, an image bureau and just typing in someone's name and seeing how many images they have. You can kind of compare popularity that way.
So you think the play count is mostly just determined by star power?
I mean, I think roster position does affect it, but I think that's a huge thing. If we had Samus at the top of the roster again, like, I think she would be our most played character.
I would like to see. I would have liked to have seen play stats when I was doing like my big updates. For example, I would have really liked to have seen what Ramilia's play count was like when I originally released her and then when I re-released her. It's just sort of just like, hey, how are you doing? I don't even mind, like, I wouldn't even care that much about relatively how much she's getting played, but just like, out of this many people are actually playing with your character. Seems like a helpful stat.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is encouraging to know. Like, for instance, if you know that 6,000 people played with my character, actually, in this particular week or something like that, because really the numbers are in the thousands. It's really hard to comprehend that too, because we are such an insular community some ways, and I think that's partly due to Discord and partly just due to lurkers and people not really seeking us out at all. But thousands and thousands of people do play this game, and we do kind of lose sight of that. If you use the pairs command, I think the pairs command, if someone did do a lot of pairs command testing, and they don't even have to do it publicly, they could just message the bot, I believe, they could kind of piece together kind of a bit of a ranking that way, and the number of games. But you're right, I can see, like, you want to know, was your effort worthwhile? The more people pick Ramilia. Or for me, like, I don't know, when I change Nagis's selection screen image to just like normal calm pose to like more of a shy, embarrassed pose to indicate what she's like, did that make more people pick her? Did more people think that's the kind of content I want to see?
Well, did it?
Idea. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Another thing, I think it would be nice to have it like alongside the resort results. Because, for example, if I make a character that gets played very little, but I get, 100 people voting for them on the resorts out of that small number of people, that's encouraging even if I'm on the bottom part of the roster. If I have a low play count and a low vote count, that makes sense. But, if I make a character with a really high play count and they're still getting a low amount of votes in the resort, I know that it's not a matter of trying to grab attention, but a matter of trying to retain attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like these sort of little things that can change my plan towards how I improve my character.
I think there is definitely more that we could do insofar as sharing, yes, people are playing with character type of information, or even it's getting more popular or less popular. It's just that really kind of like ranking, like, it's kind of like being a mod, right? You see things that you see them and you know what's happened, the moderation action that needed to happen or something maybe a little bit more ugly, but you don't need everyone to see it, and you kind of like take that burden, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's kind of what the game mods feel like they're doing, and I don't mean that in like a self-righteous way, but it is like a character. The bottom 10, for example, I don't know. I have no idea what the bottom 10 are right now. I'm sure some of the resort bottom 10 are in there, like Xander's probably in there, for example. But being a male and being not even so popular as a male. But if Dilettante was still active and he's Xander's developer, he's probably not going to want to work on Xander anymore. He's going to throw it away instead of turning it into motivation like Johan did.
So by the way, If there were two podcast guests in Australia and one killed the other with a boomerang, would that be a fair dinkum or what?
Yeah. I think that'd be a fair shake of the sauce bottle, mate.
Good on you bloody larrikin. So one bloke goes troppo and the other one carks it. Stone the crows. I'd be spewing, mate.
Mate.
Have either of you pie?
Sorry, you cut out.
Either of you ever been swooped by pie?
I've been swooped by... Yes, I have.
Bloody
I walked through a park to get some lunch, and I heard the swooping sounds, and before I knew it, there was a bird chasing me. That wasn't a great day, but you know, it happened.
So have you guys had to deal with any of those birds that drop?
Luckily, no, I've not had to deal with some firebird in my neighborhood.
What about those exploding trees?
Well, see, we don't have to deal with those because we shipped all of those over to California.
You're the fuckers who are burning down my state. Alright, where do you stand on the issue of shipping? Going by the comments on this subreddit, the creators and commenters seem to break down into two camps. They're the canon fundamentalists, who hate any perceived deviations from their conception of any given character's character. And there are those who approach the game in essentially a porn game that characters from all sorts of non-porn media.
I feel like someone really cares about this question a lot. I feel like we've had a few variations on this. Is this you, Bluecoin? But I feel like our primary...
No, T-Job asked that question.
Yeah, this was somebody asked it on the Reddit.
Oh, well, there you
go.
There you go. Because I know Bluecoin's been in discussions about like how much attention should be shown to the player and to the other table mates. I feel like it's all related. I feel like primary attention should be on the player, but they shouldn't be disinterested in their table mates. Like whether it's Marinette and Gwen, or Marinette and Captain America, or Marinette and Metaton. Like what those are interesting moments. Like, but you don't want them to have like an individual like side romance with every character. So I guess that's shipping. But then I always think of like, say, an all-male table. If you're a male character and you pick an all-male table, you don't want all of the table mates to be disinterested in each other and they're just interested in you, because then you feel like you're not like really playing an even game, if that makes sense. So, yeah. I mean, like, if Xander is there and he's like, oh, gee...
When characters do that, I just don't buy it. I don't know, like it just seems like really contrived, cliched writing for them to zero in on the player. Like there's three other strangers there. They can show interest in them and still show interest in the player, and it'll make a lot more sense.
Well, if you consider your character like, I want to say fundamentally heterosexual, but you can tell what the player is, so you can always change their sexuality basically to match their primary sexuality, for want of a better term in this situation. But like, if it's a male player and a female character, you can make them more interested in men, and vice versa. If it's a female character and a female opponent, then you can also make them more interested in women. I think it's okay to make them more interested in the player. You don't want to play like, I don't know, Sanako, and she's all into, I don't know, Felicia, and she doesn't really care about the player. That's not a fun game to me.
Alright, what about you, Mystic?
As an equal opportunist, I believe all my characters are equally disinterested in everybody. So I don't have to run into this problem ever. I will say that I do tend to write characters in a way that I think is more interesting. Whether that means I have to like hardline stick to canon and that is more interesting, or if I have to take some insane artistic liberties to make that interesting, I just pick whatever I think will end up with a more fun result. You know, I don't lean very heavily towards the canon pairings or having fun with the rest of the people on your table either way.
I think there's definitely room for some disinterested opponents, so I think that's fine. I don't want my whole table to be like not really there though, if that makes sense.
I don't think
Completely
every character
understandable.
needs to be like all super like lovey-dovey, because I'm not really into that. It especially just kind of reads really hollow when everyone there is a stranger. But I do like kind of showing more subtle interest where they kind of act above it all or disinterested, and then you kind of see the cracks a little.
Yeah, I like that.
That personally really appeals to me. And it just makes more sense, because why would you be super emotionally invested in a stranger?
Well, say for
Well,
instance, it's not always a stranger. For instance, Natsuki, I think, does it well where she's not really that keen to be there. But if Player's going to be there, she wants to see what Player has to bring, because that's the person she identifies with.
Well, that just goes back to the nature of visual novels and things. It's like, why are these strangers so interested in you?
You're their childhood friend.
How else would I
not
live
with
out my
Natsuki.
self-insert fantasies?
You're only Sayori's childhood friend.
I guess you're a chiseled god.
I wished.
Yeah, when you play visual novels, you can be above 5'6".
Hey, I am above 5'6". The Joker's above 5'7". Excuse you.
Okay.
If you're gonna call me short, you have to be factually correct about it.
Anyway,
Next
this
is a bit of a long one.
yeah, it'd be nice if you let me answer the previous one.
I thought you had already said everything you wanted to say.
I interjected when other people are answering because I can't wait my turn, but now it's my turn. I do think this question has a little strange terminology, because like shipping means like you're literally trying to like put two characters together, like Gwen and Marinette. That's not necessarily the same thing as like making a character sexual enough to fit the game. I assume that's what they mean, and like how much do you stretch the character, because there's always people in the dev community who will say like you don't want to stretch it too far. I just think like turning them into a porn parody is just like I just consider it like kind of lazy writing, because like it's most of okay, with a few exceptions, these characters are like human beings. There's only a few robots, so like they're not they every one of them has a sexuality. So if it's just a matter of you look at the character, and if you don't have enough evidence for it, just be like, okay, well, what's the most likely way that they would act in a sexual situation? You know, like that's not hard to dream up. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't have to like break character for them to have a sexuality. Like, why would they not have a sexuality? It just means they don't have to go from 0 to 11 total slut. Like, just write them the way they would probably act, and that's all you have to do.
If they're Moon, they can start at 11.
Yeah, if you're Moon.
Hey.
What?
They can start at 11, literally, according to the manga.
Okay, now I get it. But yeah, like it's just I don't know. I don't want to be too rude, but like if you can't think of a way to to make them like sexualized without like completely going like full like porno dialogue, I think you need to think harder about it. Like they're just people. Like there's nudity all around them. Like they're going to be affected by that. It doesn't mean they have to turn into a parody of themselves. Like real people flirt. Like that doesn't mean like they tell total strangers to shove your cock in my mouth. It It just means they flirt.
The original Zelda did.
It sounds like I've been flirting wrong then.
That's not flirting. That's I don't know. That's the next level.
All right. And this is the same question, or the same guy who asked that question is, one last thing, are you guys okay with the constant grammar and that you get, or is it a bit annoying?
Oh,
That every time I
can I
play
add
this
one more
game...
thing?
Sure. I mean, it's
Like,
there's...
the context for like flirting is a lot different, like between the game portion and an epilogue. You know what I mean? Like an epilogue, you can get a little, like it's one-on-one most of the time, and it's like actual sex, you know. Whereas like in the game, there's like other people around. This is not like a one-off thing. There's just stuff that you would not say with other people around. You know.
Yeah.
Even if you are flirting.
What
So,
about
like you just
what
gotta
about
think about the
Marinette's
difference there.
epilogue? Marinette's epilogue, she just fantasizes about other people.
Oh,
Wait.
that's a dream.
It almost sounds like Marinette has an NTR. Oh.
Cat Noir is being made, and I think he's just gonna get NTR the entire. It's just gonna be the NTR table.
Story
It's just gonna be he's gonna be there, and Marinette's gonna be thirsting after everyone else on the table.
You know what? We can just have...
It's just another example of Namas personally hating me, is that he makes the NTR duo.
They're gonna have a dual epilogue where Cat Noir just watches.
as like the rest of the roster runs a train on her.
Doing
man.
six sex combos on Marinette.
all 200 of the other characters except for Cat Noir.
Build up the team super meter.
You get out. You get out and stop.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this in one breath. One last thing. Are you guys okay with the constant stream of grammar and spelling corrections that you get, or is it a bit annoying? But every time I play this game, I send in a few of these, and I try not to be obnoxious about it, but English is a crazy fucking language with spelling and grammar... Fuck it, I couldn't even say words. With spelling and
That's not
grammatical rules that make no... Shut up. That make no sense, are wildly inconsistent, and it must be frustrating for ESL-type creators especially, not saying that you are not native speakers, because I don't know, just making an observation. Can you suggest an optimum form for such corrections? I'm the guy who sends in those. Character dialogue corrected, paste lines here with corrections and brackets, which you may have seen and been annoyed. Polite, or how you say user-friendly way to format these, please say so.
You had a southern drawl at the end there.
I don't know what you're talking
Format
about.
days.
Yeah, well,
I answered this personally on the Reddit because we know exactly who asked it.
What you don't know is that I secretly speak with a super deep southern accent. I'm just putting on a normal people voice for this podcast.
Is this your television broadcaster voice?
Yep. This is my real accent.
Oh my god,
Johan's
it's
a newscaster.
beautiful.
Just a little bit southern. Not quite, though.
Johan is the Walter Cronkite of our generation.
SPNatI, since you already answered this, do you want to go first?
I think typos and bug reports and stuff, they're really helpful. So I would never discourage someone from doing that. Like, that's good. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to find all the typos. Especially ones that a spell check wouldn't catch, like just leaving out a word.
Yeah. Some of those errors have been in the game for like over 2 years, and then they get reported. I'm like, how did no one ever notice this? How did I never notice this before?
Plus, just like, it shows that people are playing your character.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, like that's not a problem. I mean, it does kind of. The only time it's annoying is like if it's someone who is just insisting that every character speaks with perfect grammar.
Yeah,
Although
I think it's okay. Sentence fragments are okay.
I haven't gotten too much of that with Ryuko, thankfully, because she uses a lot of dialect. Trying to get that like punk girl delinquent thing, where she like kind of slurs the ending of her words. Other Other than that, it's all good. Oh, it's also annoying when people say there's broken images, but it's just because their internet connection is slow.
That's something hard to tell as a casual player, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really do anything about that, but
Yeah.
you just... I feel like an asshole when I look at a bug report, and I'm just like, well, that's not really a bug. I'm not going to fix that because I can't.
It'd be nice in the bug reporter if it could tell you if the image didn't load, and so that you could go, well, the image didn't load because... Yeah, or if the image wasn't found, like it could check, like 404 not found on the image.
Well, it does. When an image isn't found, it does actually do that. It gives you the missing image sort of icon.
No, but you don't know why the image is missing. I mean, in the actual report itself, it could say it was looking for 6-calm.png, and that does not exist for this character.
Yeah.
Would it know the difference
the bug
between
report
that and
does
not
tell
loading
you
time?
what image it's showing. Like, the bug report tells you what image is trying to be called.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
But
up to you to fish out whether or not that exists or not, I guess.
But I have to admit, since the validator and connection problem stuff, I don't even follow up on those. I just always presume that it was their connection.
I mean, it's not that hard to check if you have the character editor open already. But
I mean, I always validate before I send out a patch anyway. With the bug reporting, I know some people, it does annoy some people because they feel like it's this big pile of work to do. Like this big.
But they're all really easy to fix.
Yeah, I know. Like for me, I welcome that. Any of my characters, please, more. So Nagisa, Nugi-chan are completely up to date. All bug fixes done. So if you see any, May and Diva still have a couple outstanding, but still report. Even offline characters, if you notice anything, I absolutely welcome it. I'm including not even that, like even ones for if there's lines you think are way too repetitive, or if they're not reading the room, like if Nagisa's completely calm, Nagisa is completely calm, and like something crazy is going on. Like for me, I personally, I would welcome that report because now we have tools to fix that. Or if they say, the ground is cold, but it's the lava background or whatever,
There's lava on her at the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, absolutely for this responder, I've seen your reports. I reckon please join the Discord and you can get a really good feel for who likes and responds quickly to those reports. We know who you are kind of without you even saying it because you do have a very specific style. Also, just as a chance to say, Vision, thank you so much for the bug reporting tool. It is a blessing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Although it is a little disappointing when you get a message in your character's channel and it's just a bug report. Nobody actually had anything to say.
Oh, no, but it's still like you were saying. It means someone played your character, right?
It's like when you're getting pinged for everyone.
That's why pinging for everyone is disabled on the dev server. There's no role pinging at all.
If Discord would hire me,
why can't I ping mod?
If it's a role ping, it should just be blue. It should be a blue ping, so you'd know.
You can disable role pings, I think, or at least everyone pings. Johan, there's no mod one. If you want to
Discord, hire me.
Just do what SPNatI does and just ping everyone that you like.
I ping you all, and I'm gonna keep pinging you all. Just give me the.
That's fine. I mean, the result is the same. The result is the same.
If the result's the same, just give me the big
easier
shiny button.
If I ever have to leave SPNatI for some reason, the last thing I think I'll do is just to manually ping all 800 people.
That reminds, yeah. I've seen a comic of somebody doing that. It was rather beautiful. I think that the guy who's worried about trying not to sound like a douche while submitting bug reports, you're fine. You're pretty much always fine as long as you're submitting a bug report and it doesn't read like, this is a Kamina bug report that I received on the 23rd of February this year, 2019. And this is a very entitled way of submitting a bug report. It is, his glasses are red, not orange. They get the orange glow in only one scene where the sun is directly above Kamina Other times it is either purple, around 40% if I remember correctly, and this is mostly in the dark or early morning, or red, which is the glass's natural color. Fix it. And I decided that I will not be fixing that purely out of spite for this one individual. So yeah, as long as you're not that guy, you're fine.
Yeah. One suggestion for people who are frequent bug reporters is to actually go onto the dev Discord and take a look at what your bug report looks to us. I love getting bug reports for things that I can fix, and sometimes I like getting bug reports for things that I can't fix. So at least I can forward that to someone who can do something about it.
We do get some rather funny bug reports. Like I think just today we got she disber.
Yeah, I remember getting those.
Oh, she disappeared.
She
disappeared.
She disappeared.
Which are these just ESL people or?
No, that's not ESL spelling. That is like have not learned to spelling.
But like the one thing that I think a lot of the devs would appreciate is there are people who like copy paste the character's dialogue at the time into the box. You don't have to do that. That shows up on our end. Like we don't need to see it twice. If you see a typo and you like copy paste the whole text before highlighting the typo, it's sort of like counterproductive at that point. It's perfectly okay to just write the word that was spelled incorrectly the correct way, because we see a lot of information on bug report. So if you're worried about how your bug reports are being accepted by the devs, take a look at how they're sent. Sometimes, if we see things, we can be a bit vocal about the way people say things. But a lot of times we just see a bug, we fix the bug, it's perfectly fine. We don't fuss about what's in the report itself.
I might take this opportunity to say you can also get points for trading card 9 in the inventory by reporting bugs, but please don't abuse that. Suggestions are not bugs. Don't report the same line more than once. In fact, when I'm reporting, I search the character's channel to see if that line's already been reported before. And if it has, I don't report it. There's diminishing returns anyway, so it's not that hard to have the Discord window open, see if it's been reported before. But it can give extra motivation to kind of dig out those old ones, or just read each line carefully.
All right. Next question is, what do you think benefits a character the most in a resort? What is your general opinion on resorts? How effective they are, how frequent, how you like the results, etc.? Andres, you're one of the people in charge of them. Why don't you start us off?
It wasn't Namas supposed to write a post about how to maximize your returns on resorts?
Said he wanted
Something
to.
about that.
I think not only did I have a part of the resort, I invented the resort. I proposed it in March 2017. And I was really nervous because it meant moving Joseph Cantel's characters off the front page. And I had to pitch it to him. But he went along with it. Actually, we're getting to a point now where Joseph Cantel's characters might all be purged from the game. And I'm really worried that time is coming soon.
Are there any left?
Let's have a look.
Zoe lasted a while. Elizabeth kind of counts. But I don't think there's anything from old Elizabeth still there.
No, I don't think there's anything from old Elizabeth still there. I think Wii Fit Trainer, he did like the original model for Wii Fit Trainer, like enough that the new one is the same. But Nugi Chan's got a new model. Misty, but I don't think she's long for this world. Kim Possible has like a new model in progress. There's not much. He did so much for this game.
We're in the end game now.
Anyway, I'll be keeping an eye on that. Light a candle for when that ends. Anyway, back to the resort. I think what benefits a character most in a resort? I mean, obviously make a good character, but like I think the primary thing is advertising. Getting people to try your character for the first game by advertising it. The Easter competition that we just had, I think that was excellent for Carteria and Florina and Ayala. And it would have been good for Janetta too if she was main roster, because it put them like right at the forefront. I think like a really effective thing that Metalatar did was put that image of Chun-Li with her legs spread naked on the subreddit right before the resort. It got a ton of upvotes and probably got a lot of people to play her. And remember, this is a crazy attractive model. That was like
Yeah,
he
she's
was
super
he
good.
was
She
not
deserves
playing
those
around
votes.
with that image. That was a very provocative image, and not even the sexiest thing in that epilogue, but yeah, that was very effective. I think also you can advertise in targeted subreddits or communities. I feel like that's a little
That's what
bit.
I do.
It's a little bit more questionable, I suppose.
I wonder if that helped Ryuko because
I
I did
think
that.
like that's effective because it still gets people to the game. Maybe it's a little bit like you are just
Silly.
inviting people with like a predisposition to vote for your characters, but I think the side effect of it benefiting the game is huge. So I think that's worth it.
Hey, listen, it was the first opportunity I had to actually do. There's no R Van Reddit or R Black Lagoon.
So if people came and they actually played the game and they didn't just vote for Ryuko in like a waifu poll that they didn't understand, I think that's cool. And I guess we'll see how she goes next resort. I'm sure she'll do great anyway. Whether she's like as high, I'm not sure. I have no idea because we don't really know like what results it had. Will she still be number 2 on the roster? Time will tell.
I don't think anybody has like topped out the votes themselves twice in a row. Can you confirm that? Maybe Samus early on.
I'm not sure. For each time we do a resort poll, I like lock one character into the Newgrounds edition for every time. So if it was raw votes, was it Ryuko for raw votes this time? It was, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe
so that'll be her this time. I can't remember it duplicating, but I do also just like eliminate those early ones in my mind if they're already locked in. So I can't say for 100% sure.
Mystic, what about you?
Yeah, I think star power is pretty good at getting you going for the resort. Like, so I think there are two parts to making a popular character. The first part is grabbing a person's attention. So star power goes a long way to just getting people to play your character. Visuals are very important. You know, having nice art is the easiest way to get someone to try your character to begin with. And then, of course, there's a second part, which is retention. So this is where your posing itself comes into play a lot more, and your dialogue. And, you know, like I said, with getting attention being the first step, like having your strong visuals and having a recognizable character is probably the best bang for your buck for getting resort results. If you're working with a character with star power, then you don't have to worry so much about that. Getting people to play your character is a lot easier. At that point, it's just making sure your dialogue is thorough. You target other popular characters who you are likely to be on a table with. That's another thing of like improving your character quality. Just getting more value out of life. You know, you could have extremely detailed conversations with, let's say, Nugi-chan, but if not many people are playing Nugi-chan, even though those lines might be 110% your best work, doesn't really matter in the end if nobody gets to see them.
What kind of monster wouldn't play Nugi-chan?
Oh, I know, she's so good.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. She's not the most popular.
SPNatI, you've got 3 out of the 5 top slots in the current game. So, what do you think you're doing that's getting you so well on resource?
And I would like to establish that since you didn't hear, if not for some bureaucratic rules, it would in fact be 4.
So, what are you doing that gets your character so high up there?
Line count is factored in, and they have a shitload of lines. It's much less of a factor than it used to be. I think it would increase like, I don't know, like a difference of like 8,000 lines or something is probably maybe 200 points. With like roughly equal votes, which is a lot of points, but it's also 8,000 lines you gotta write. So it's definitely diminishing returns as far as that's concerned. Like, Maya has almost 2,000 more lines than Jura, and Jura got enough votes above her that like she had 100 more points. Well, let's see. Jura has done very well the last few resorts. I think part of that's advertising because I put her as a poster girl for the one of the Eiko threads that was going on at the time on 4chan. Her having essentially 0 star power. She doesn't even have the most star power out of the Vandred girls. Like, if you read the dojins, like Maya is the focus. Maya gets all the attention. So I think that's just marketability and sort of general appeal. Like, Jura is a big, tall, big titty, long blonde hair, skimpy dress tease, and she flirts with everyone. She likes men and women, and she lavishes a lot of attention and flaunts her body around, which even a casual player would like. I remember on the last feedback poll, people described her as Samus, but better in every way.
Samus 2.
I would consider her to be written a little more realistically than Samus, and that she when when Jotaro stops time or Amy starts shooting, she doesn't continue to lust after cock. She actually has the appropriate reaction. Other than that, let's see. I think one of the best things you can do for a character is an epilogue, as well as multiple epilogues, and epilogues with like actual sex in them. Because if you don't, like, I know we treat it as a bonus, and it is, but for a lot of people, I think, for a lot of casual players, there is that expectation going into a porn game that you'll get to fuck them at some point. You know? Like, the first thing, when you read that epilogue badge, like, oh, okay, that's where the sex is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that is probably the single, like, outside of star power, giving them an epilogue is the single best reason you can give a player to play your character, because there's a lot of people who are completionists and want to see what all the epilogues are, and if you can really give them a good epilogue, I think that's a major motivation for them to play your character the first time, and also keep coming back to them. I don't have the retention rate stats, so I can't say that for sure. But a lot of people praised Ryuko's epilogue. I'd like to redo Revi's, but I think that definitely helped her since her update. And Mei and Jura each have like an epilogue for males and females, and I think that's the big reason that they've overcome their lack of star power. That and the line count factor pushing them towards the front where they can get some exposure. And also, what was mentioned before, how if you target not only like the most popular characters, which is definitely important, but just a wide variety of characters, because you want to make sure that they have something specific to say, no matter who they're stuck with. And if you can, I think if you can sort of catch someone's interest with that right away, like, ooh, this character's really interactive. Look how they're talking and acknowledging all this stuff. And that leaves a really good first impression, and they'll remember that when it comes time to vote, because it's not like you replay all the characters before you vote for them, you know. So you need to have that lasting impression.
Yeah, sometimes it might be weeks or even months since you've played a character, but if you remember you like them, you still vote for them.
Yeah.
Or if you're me, you'll vote for characters you've never even played. Golf.
That's wrong, and you shouldn't do it.
And although, I mean, star power is important, and although Mei and Jura essentially have 0 star power, I do think I kind of struck a bit of a gold mine, or like an untapped market, in that the premise of their series, men and women like living on separate planets, and them being not only raised to be lesbians, so they appreciate women, but also very curious about men. That sort of very easily lends itself into the premise of this game, and they just kind of fit like a glove. Whereas you might have your obscure waifu from somewhere else, but they might be a lot more normal. So it's hard to sort of make them stand out in that department. I remember someone saying on a Maya's sponsorship over a year ago that like in a crowded field now, the gimmick of doesn't know anything about men is something that lets her stand out. So I think I struck gold there.
So effectively, your answer is advertise, especially with an epilogue, and let me advertise my characters to you. Because yes, I think my intro are definitely good for those ways.
Mm-hmm. Please vote for them. I appreciate it when people vote for them.
I have
vote for
every
them.
single time.
I vote for them.
Yeah, so have I.
I am eternally grateful for the support that they get, and very humbled by it. And I will continue to write lines to every character because I enjoy engaging with different creators and all the different characters. And I think that creates a lot of goodwill, and you'll get people voting for your characters if you target their characters, because people want you to pay attention to their wife basically, and show interest.
Alrighty. Next question is: were there any characters you really wanted to make but just couldn't find a way to reasonably make for SPNatI?
So, Johan, you said you thought you knew which character I would want to make?
Oh, yeah, that was a joke.
Okay. Akio Furukawa. Yeah, okay, no, that's funny. No, the character that I wanted to make was Vera Misham from Ace Attorney. She's like a shy character. She's mostly mute, and she just like does drawings on a notepad and holds them up to the screen. And I was like mulling over the idea. I was still thinking about it, kind of in a pre-production way. And as I was doing that, the Extreme Exhibitionist update came out June 2017, and that's when we hit the file size limit. So until then, we had no concept of like the 1 gigabyte. We just like a credit card with no limit. We just spend this space like nothing going on. And so we hit the limit at that point. And so then the idea of a character that was just basically dialogue through images, I had to throw that out the window. That could be done now with the Pose Maker, but I don't have the drive to make a new character the same way that I once did. I would still love to see that character, but I think the main draw for me was that she was like had like a sweet, quiet personality, but almost no dialogue. And the prospect of writing a mute character was appealing to me at the time, and I know mute characters don't really fly right now.
Oh yeah, writing a mute character. Yes, I would also love to write a mute character. It's like a great time. At this point in time, I've actually dropped a lot of projects, sadly. But back when I was a very young, naive developer, still working on early stages of Shimikaze, a thought came to my mind, and I thought to myself, you know who has a really fun personality that would be very entertaining to write? Rance from, like, the Rance series. If you don't know who Rance is, it's probably better to keep it that way. And if you do know who Rance is, you probably agree with me that he is an extremely, extremely bad idea. But like, his character is so dynamic and his dialogue is hilarious, and you could do fun things with his talking sword, who is also a degenerate pervert. Like, there is so much there that I think would be extremely fun to write and extremely fun to play with if he wasn't Rance.
But would you make a male character?
I mean, that's also the hard part. Like, in the end, I have to make a
Mystic,
that's just so sad.
Someone on 4chan wanted to considered making Rance.
That was me.
That was
me.
Mystic, I know that you've been open to writing a male character before, because you and I talked about maybe doing a Wayne from Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah. Writing a Chuny also sounds like so much fun. You can just write whatever the fuck you want. It'll be perfectly in character. And as long as you keep in mind that whatever you write is going to be fun to write, you'll just make it. It'll just be great.
Yeah.
Collab with the Masp is writing Mega Man, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Rants might be funny, but
Yep, exactly.
like come on, who wants to put them on the table? Like, get the fuck away from my waifu.
Yeah.
The people who played Kira for the
It's just
probably,
well,
and we all know how that went.
Kira's not going to kill all of them, is he?
You don't know that.
Dude,
wouldn't
he's
put
at
it
like
past him.
47 or something. So Banana, what about you?
Oh god, we'd really have the NTR table, wouldn't we? Just rants with anyone.
Yup.
Rance, Captain America, Marinette, Katnar.
So Captain America and Rance double team Marin
Yeah.
and Cat Noir watches.
No.
And the player watches.
Cat Noir
Oh
gets
yeah, I always forget
NTR.
the player exists.
Cat Noir gets NTR'd by Captain America, and then Captain America gets NTR'd by Rance. Double down!
The player gets NTR'd by Rance.
Everyone gets NTR'd by rants.
Can we go a
Marinette
fucking podcast episode without NTR?
No,
No, it's become a mainstay.
because it's just, we all know that you hate it.
Well, it's funny.
It is.
But I think I've talked about this plenty of times before. There's lots of characters that I've dropped. And luckily, I never really got too far with them because I was always updating other characters. So my enthusiasm for them just kind of waned before it went anywhere. So there was Bulma from Dragon Ball, who I just thought wouldn't be interesting enough. And at this point, we have enough Dragon Ball characters anyway. I just thought she'd be like kind of flirty like Jura, but with less to work with. Like, yeah, it's a expansive series, but just, flirting is flirting, and just from a regular Earth woman, I don't know, it's not particularly interesting. Let's see. There's Balalaika from Black Lagoon, who, like, okay, first of all, Revy doesn't need a franchise mate really either. Her burns were just like a pain in the ass, and I was a lot less experienced with Kisake anyway. And also, she just seemed like she'd be really niche. I remember I kind of dropped her right after the August resort because it was just like, she really doesn't have that much general appeal, and she'd be a lot like Revy, just kind of more stoic. And Ryuko just seemed a lot more interesting in that regard. Like, her one thing is basically she has burns, and we don't know a whole lot else about her, relatively speaking. There's Ayla from Chrono Trigger, who I just thought would lose too quickly because she's a cave girl.
You could always make her like accidentally win every hand.
No, you can't make her good. She can't even read. Well, Pitt can't read either. He does all right. Oh yeah, how does Pitt play cards if he can't read?
You don't have to know how to read to know how to count.
To read. Yeah, there's like symbols. Old
You gotta
pictures.
read the fucking numbers.
No, you
Banana.
don't. Just count the
and the
pictures.
letters.
Bananon, if you see 7 apples in a barrel or in a bowl, do you have to read the apples?
Are you telling me that Pitt fucking manually counts the number of symbols on every card?
I can
Yes.
totally sit and manually count.
It's just sitting there for like a minute every hand.
Yeah, that's why it takes him so long to load up, because he's practicing reading off the cards.
He's counting all the symbols. Why doesn't Palutena just teach him how to read? Is he the oppressed working class?
Yes.
Have you played the games? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Palutena, like, half of the game is...
God, she doesn't even put out. Like, one or the other.
She's just fucking with Pitt.
Like, if you're not going to put out, teach them how to read at least. Like, come on. Throw them a fucking bone, Politina.
All right.
I think that's everybody I've dropped.
There been. You dropped Vidal.
Never picked
There
her up.
are a couple. I think there are a couple of
Was
characters
never in the conversation.
I've started working on that I never went anywhere with, but a character that I was actually rather recent that I had fully intended on making was Tenko Chabashira from Neo Danganronpa V3. Everyone or Killing Harmony. And I had full intentions of making her a character, but yeah, there was a massive pushback against that, and it seemed like almost everybody thought that that would be a terrible idea. So I didn't go through with that. And from earlier, in my SPNatI dev time, back before I made Amalia, I was thinking of who I wanted to make. Like, I was thinking I was either Amalia, Aisha Clan, or Conan. And I
Conan
really
the Barbarian?
Conan from Naruto, who's this blue-haired, stoic girl in a long coat. And the thing is, I was really gonna do that, but then I realized that who would want a stoic, big-boobed, blue-haired waifu? That's not an audience. That doesn't exist.
He's right.
The real issue is that I couldn't get the coat to work back. Probably could now. But this was back when I was still at the level of Rinka V1, Amalia V1. I was not good at Kisuke. So, that happened there. Those are the only two projects that I really feel like I actually really wanted to get done, and then didn't get anywhere because of various reasons.
Can you briefly repeat that? Because Black just posted another Misato model, and I got just.
I just wasn't good enough at making at making the model, and it was a very long coat with cloud textures on it, and I couldn't get her hair to look good, and so I just didn't do it. I probably could now. I might make a model just because she's my second favorite Naruto character, and she's the best girl in the series. And anybody who says that Hinata is the best girl is a basic ass vanilla bitch who has no taste. Doesn't realize that this literal angel who can create.
Are you watch Naruto and you're accusing people of no taste?
Yes. It does. You don't have to be a chef to know that a soup is garbage. But Konana's fucking cool. She can turn into paper and And I know that sounds really lame, but it's way cooler than I'm making it sound. And I was
telling me this girl is an inanimate object because I will throw my support behind that.
She's not an inanimate object, but she can completely disassemble her body and turn it into various sheets of paper and reassemble it elsewhere and create wings and clones. And at one point she opens up the ocean and it's just 500 million billion paper bombs.
Can she give you a paper cut?
If she wanted, she makes giant ass spears of paper and throws them at people while floating above them menacingly.
I think that's little more than a cut.
She would give you a paper cut on your dick?
If she turned into her paper form, yeah. I had fully intended on making her, but I couldn't make a model at the time. I might give her a shot later this week after Akko stuff. For now, let's finish off this question because, oh my god, we're almost at 4 hours. Again, how did this happen?
Gonna need to do some editing.
Magic.
With a bit of editing, we can get it down to 45 minutes.
Yeah, and then
Nice.
we'll release a bigger, longer, and uncut version.
Just cut out all the parts where Johan's talking.
God damn it. Final question. Do you have a hypothesis for why a large proportion of new characters nowadays come from anime and manga or similar media compared to SPNatI's earlier days?
Because Johan keeps corrupting other people into playing Danganronpa.
It's true.
So when it says anime and manga and similar media, are we talking about specifically Japanese media?
Yes.
I think that's
Yeah, like do they
novels,
mean
visual
like would they
novels.
be fine with more video game characters? Because like Samus is a Japanese character. Like, do they specifically mean anime and manga?
I think you can make that distinction. There are characters who definitely feel like quote anime characters,
Like Shulk.
and then there are like, yeah,
Princess
I think you would
Peach
consider
is a Japanese character. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at so these are recent characters released that are not Japanese. Hanako, Coco, Rarity, Pinky, Sayori, and Mulan. A lot of those are like Asian characters, kind of, but they're not from a Japanese source. Mulan is like a Disney character. Sayori is not Japanese, right? So,
But she's from a visual novel, which is anime inspired.
yeah, I guess, but I wouldn't count that. And interesting,
I would go mostly on the creator here. As we all know, Dan Salvato is a very Japanese name.
If you look at the original 4, there's no Japanese media ones, but if you look at the roster after that, there's a lot. Asuna, Wii Fit Trainer, Daisy, Rosalina, Black Rose, Peach, Tifa. So I think like it's always been a bit of a 50-50 split. Like since there's been 8 characters, it's been like approximately 50-50. So I don't think it's particularly prevalent now. It just depends on how you define it.
I actually did some statistical analysis on this specifically.
He did.
It's a couple months out of date. I think like Penny was the newest character, so I can update it. But so 2016 and so the very early days of the game, the split was pretty close as far as like a Western or a Japanese origin. It was like maybe 55-45 in favor of Western. And then in all through 2017, there was more of an emphasis among creators on Western characters. It was like 62%, and then like 37% or something like that in favor of Western characters. And then in 2018, it completely flipped, where most of the developers. So I guess it's just like a new crop of developers basically that are more interested in Japanese media, because in 2018 it was like 66% Japanese characters and like 33% Western characters. Even if you include like incomplete projects and like characters that were on testing at the time, it was still like about even. And if you like put all the figures together, at least from a few months ago, it was like exactly 50-50. As far as like,
because I was looking at the start and the end, but your analysis of the middle two, I didn't really consider.
Oh yeah, there's a post I made in SPNatI General a couple of years back.
Years?
Or not years, months.
I remember that post. It was very enlightening.
Same.
Nobody really commented on it.
I appreciate it.
Once the data is presented and analyzed, I mean, what can I say? Like, nice job counting the numbers. Like, I don't have anything of value to add to it.
And put it on Reddit. But yeah, it's like, so definitely more recently, there's an emphasis on anime and manga characters. And that's just, it's whatever crop of developers you get and what they happen to be interested in. I mean, that's including like Princess Peach as a Japanese character, that's like Japanese video games. So I don't think the proportion of actual like anime or manga inspired characters is super high. Japanese characters get a lot of benefits from video games, which people who don't like anime and manga are generally a little more receptive. All my characters come from anime or manga. I just think it's
come from games.
Yeah, I just think that you have more to take from like an anime or manga because they. But yeah, it's overall it's 50-50. So you could tip the scales if you want. It's only recently that it's kind of switched to anime or manga, and like I do think that's a bit of like a feedback loop. Like if you're surrounded by a bunch of developers who share your interests like in anime and manga and Japanese video games and stuff, then you'll be encouraged to make characters from that, and you might feel a little isolated if you're more a fan of like Western characters and like Western sources, because there's not as much like other dev support for that or familiarity. I definitely see like nobody really jumps to quite the same level of support on the Discord for like a Western character, which is unfortunate. But you kind of like I think that's what happened with in 2017, where most of the feedback or most of the discussion was on the subreddit. You had the crop of people there, and they were all they just tended towards Western characters for the most part, especially with all the rubies coming out. And then I think when the Discord was formed and really took off in like the beginning of 2018, you just had a different population of developers be there. So like, don't be afraid to make what you want. It's just it's just what everyone happens to be into. I happen to like anime and manga sources.
I do think Kisuke lends itself to the anime style.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, so even like Western characters, like the Ruby characters, or like the Doki Doki Literature Club characters, really do fit into that a bit more easily. You have to do more work. I think, like for instance, making a character like Marceline or Daria is definitely going to be more of a challenge, just because of the tools you're getting. It's like kind of like making a convincing man in Kisuke. It's not impossible, but it's not default either.
Oh, I think fans of the series or whatever, but not necessarily of SPNatI, might be harder to get into if you make a Western character. Maybe this is apples and oranges a little bit, but I remember like some post about like all the rubies being playable, like all of Team Ruby, back in 2017, and that was posted to Ruby Rule 34 or something like that.
That's what got me into this game.
And everyone, or okay, so maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was just like R Ruby or something like that. But it was like really negative on the reception. The one comment was just like, "What national tragedy is this?" and stuff like that. But then you see other posts to like the DDLC subreddit, which I guess that's a Western thing, but it's kind of anime inspired, or Kill la Kill, the post I made, or Katawa Shoujo, and it's generally a lot more favorable. I guess that's just because they fit the mold a little better. They're used to seeing the characters kind of portrayed in that style, and I think a community that's into like anime or manga is probably used to hentai.
That's pretty much my entire answer, yeah.
And also, they're probably more likely to admit liking it compared to like someone who watches Ruby. So yeah,
I think
that's my number crunching.
I think it'll be interesting to observe like franchise release as well in respect to each other. Like for example, Persona 1's probably the obvious one where a lot of the Personas were released, roughly around the same time. And I wasn't there when the Rubies were being made, but I'd assume the Rubies came out like fairly consecutively.
We have a document. Hex goes into the mines.
I've never
works 8 hours
I've never needed
to give
crunch
us that
the
document.
data before today. Please have mercy. But like, I think some of it might just be that franchise mates come out in like one after another, and that might skew the numbers a bit. Simply because you get one from an Eastern franchise, and then all of a sudden there are 3 more to join them.
Okay. Well, that is all the questions. So does anybody else have anything to say?
I might just very briefly address a couple of questions that were skipped, if that's all right. One of them asked me how I'm liking the character editor and how the game has evolved since 2016. That could be a very long answer, but I'll keep it short. I've really only switched over in the last couple of months. I was only using the validator and the charts before that, and the character editor is amazing. Having like stuff like also playing saying and the position indicator, like there's so much potential. My only gripe is the character editor is so tiny. I have a large monitor, and so it has a decent resolution. It's not 4K, but it's high, and so it's like still pixel for pixel. So I like squint to see it. So if it's like late at night, I can't really edit because my eyes can't do it. But it's an amazing tool for when I'm fully awake. And how the game has evolved. Well, we didn't have targeted lines in 2016, and we didn't have attractive characters either. So, so it's basically everything you see is different. There was another question about how good a character could potentially do in resorts. We did really kind of cover this in the advertised question, but I think like Jura is an excellent example of a character that isn't well known, but is still, with the effort put in, has the #1 spot, which is awesome. I do think a character like, say, Beatrix, for example, who isn't like traditionally like good looking, yet not traditionally attractive, should hit that limit if there was one.
Yeah.
There's
Overcoming
a limit to how much
not being conventionally attractive is very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, because if you made her more on model, she would be less attractive. I feel like, I mean, like that's not a hit on her. That's just her character. So I mean, there is a limit. I don't think that like an insane amount of effort will ever get Beatrix to the top of the roster. So I think maybe the answer is yeah. I don't know.
One thing that I've heard people say is that Jura is kind of like the most conventionally attractive character on the roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I feel like Mouse's both of Mouse's characters are probably there for me, but they're on the new front page. The Mouse's characters are both on the new front page, so that'll be interesting to see if that exposure changes any opinions too.
I just mean like typical conventional standards of beauty.
Like not counting models.
Oh, you mean like if you met them in real life kind of thing? Or if you met them in their franchise?
Yeah. Who would be opposed to a blonde bombshell?
That's what I mean, like normal people.
Which one would you hire as a model for your clothing line or something like that? Yeah, okay. That might be different. Yeah, I can see that.
Tall, slender, long blonde hair. You know, big boobs.
And also, which character would you choose if you knew none of the characters? If you're like, you know, some 60-year-old guy that just found the site and goes, I like out of this. I don't know who any of these original characters are. And just pick whoever they like. I could see them.
Who would he be looking for?
I know that I'd pick Rinka
60 years
because
old.
she's best girl.
And then they submit a bug report. She disappeared.
Disappeared.
If a 60-year-old man played this game, what character? Who would be his wife?
I don't think it's an if. I think it's a when. I mean, I think we got to really consider the demographic pretty broad here. Men and women, but more men. But
if
children and elderly.
Super Mario characters.
Like, what did a 60-year-old man grow up with?
Nothing on the roster, right? Not
even
Tricop from The Princess Bride.
Even Uhura would probably count.
Oh yeah, but she's not on the main roster anymore. Looking through,
and thank God.
I mean, say like for instance, is anything from the 90s too new? Like, is Chun-Li too new
for a 60-year-old man? Yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
He would have been like a young adult in the 70s.
Yeah, I don't think we have
Astro Boy.
We don't have Astro Boy, but soon we'll have Mega Man.
Oh yeah.
Mega Man.exe.
No, there's nothing really like that. I'm not seeing anything pre-90s. Maybe Sailor, but I mean, you'd have to be into anime for that.
Oh yeah, who's like the oldest Source character on the roster?
Well, man, what
who's the newest? Probably like Kazuna.
Yeah, I think Kazuna would be the newest.
Who's the oldest?
Well,
check that.
Sailor's Gundam aired in Da, 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 da. 79. April
Ooh.
7,
Wow.
1979.
That's pretty close. Pre-1980 is pretty hard.
Did we have any? I was gonna say, do we have any Disney princesses besides Mulan? I was trying to think, like maybe Snow White, but no, we have.
We used to have Jasmine.
Yeah, but that's.
Oh, that's in the 90s.
No, we had Anonymous Girl.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. I meant Jasmine the OC.
Ah, thank you.
Oh
we never
god.
got her.
Good that you cleared that up.
I'm looking through the roster and I'm seeing a lot of 21st century.
Well,
JoJo the manga is pretty old.
It's not that old.
Yeah, by the time
It
Part
was
4
started
rolls
in like
around.
the 80s, right?
Mm,
Launch is also from like 1984.
Is that car from 1986?
oh,
Ooh.
80, 86. When did Initial D start? That is a good question.
I think Initial D would have started a while after 86.
How
Well,
how
not
old
that
are Raven's comics?
Oh, Initial 86, or Initial D was 1995.
Yeah.
Raven, let me see when Raven first showed up, because there are a couple different
What was the
versions.
first Toho game? When was
Pop.
when was that released?
Raven first appeared
90s
in
maybe, or
DC
80s?
Comics Presents number 26 in October 1980.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
the
pretty
first
old.
Toho game was 96.
I have a new winner. Mr.
Oh.
Clean, introduced 1958.
Ooh,
There
we
go!
Main
Ooh.
roster.
We need to get we need to get a timeline. We need to just get Hex to do
Oh,
it
wait,
for
that
us.
sounds really cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we should do that.
Fucking ping Hex. Make him do
All
that.
right.
That's something he'll do.
Yeah.
Hex, we have homework for you.
While I'm getting
Oh,
everybody
absolutely do
else to do work for me, I'll get Hex to do this as well.
How old is Kanjin House?
It's a YouTube series, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I watched the first episode, actually, for zero reason whatsoever.
What?
I'm pretty... it was like... It's like completely insane comedy. As in, like, you know, you go into it, and a whole bunch of shit happens, and the episode finishes.
Even like Maya's and Jura's 2000, that's pretty old for a lot of these. Like a lot of these characters were made in like the 2010s.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's all because, like, what? A large majority of our dev base isn't actually that old, even though we're sitting here working on a porn game.
Old enough, baby.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that Dorian is our youngest contributor. And I think he turns 19 this year.
That we know of.
I hope so. I hope that we don't have somebody lying about their age.
I
All
wonder
along, the
sometimes.
reason we don't know Spananon's birthday is because he's under 18.
You do know my birthday.
We don't know the year.
If you can do math, then you can figure it out.
Have you really dropped enough clues?
Yes.
Yes. I've said how old I am like multiple times.
Where is this detective work, Johan?
Yeah. Last time I looked at the birthday spreadsheet, it didn't have a year, so I blame Johan.
That's because Johan can't do math.
I can't pronounce words and I can't do math.
Just count on your fingers. If Pitt can do it, so can you.
I don't have fingers.
Oh, that would make it difficult.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think we've exceeded 4 hours.
Yes. So
Oh, you know,
have fun,
after
Arnie.
editing.
How do these keep getting longer? Everybody wants shorter podcasts. Stop
See,
asking so many damn questions.
Don't listen to them all in one go. When you listen to the podcast, just listen to it in like chunks. Like when you're driving somewhere, or when you're walking somewhere, don't try to marathon it. And don't sit at the screen and just like look at the YouTube video with like nothing going on. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
word.
that is bad.
Just
It's a
put-
podcast. They're like designed for filling in spare time when you're doing something else.
Yeah, you're supposed to be doing other things, like make dinner or something while you listen to it.
Yeah.
I need
I
to
listen
make
to these
dinner.
on the train on the way to uni. Great.
I just like set if I know I don't have anything to do on the weekend, then I just put it on my phone and lie in bed and listen. I don't want to sit upright at a computer and listen to this.
Okay, I've begun to eat my fork, so I'm getting kind of hungry. So I think we should call it here.
You just have a fork?
Well, yeah, my mom brought spaghetti into this room, but it got cold, and so I just started chewing on the fork.
Why didn't you eat the spaghetti?
Because I don't want to eat
He's
during
speaking.
the podcast. I'm a professional.
I would absolutely eat during this podcast.
Just turn it into an ASMR cast.
You know what? Here,
You think I value you motherfuckers over some spaghetti?
Here. I kind of broke the fork by chewing on it, so I'll just grab it with my fist and like
a fistful of spaghetti.
Oh god, Johan, you're dropping your spaghetti.
Is it mom's spaghetti?
Knees weak, arms are heavy.
All right, we should probably end
Johan's
this
eating
here.
his mom's spaghetti.
Okay, shout out to SPNatI Edit Vision and Reform Copyright for their coding, and Yuri Space Pirate for her resort analysis. That was cool.
That was good.
Clap.
She's very funny.
Oh yeah, Yuri's great. She should be a comedian. I think that job would suit her. Thank you, SPNatI, for being my co-host as always.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, Mystic.
For longer and longer each time.
Thanks, Mystic, for coming back, being on this episode. Thanks
Had a blast as I always do.
Thanks for making sure you strapped on your ground harness. And thanks, Arndris, for all the work you've done as a mod and for coming on this podcast for the first time and also editing it so that I don't have to.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one.
We need some more guests. That's always good to get new guests.
Yeah, my current plan is that for the next 3 episodes after this one, I'm going to have a new guest on each time.
Nice.
Next one is going to be Zeus. After that, I'm going to try and get Kati. And then after that, the Napsu episode, because literally everybody on the back poll wanted Napsu on it.
Definitely looking forward.
How many
to
tries
those.
is it going to take to get Napsu on the podcast?
Whatever
The
it
stars
takes.
have to align for her to come onto the,
Whatever
and
it
the
takes.
cast has to go for like not 4 hours.
Oh, the Napsu episode will be the longest episode.
Much to her chagrin.
Yuri specifically wanted to be on an episode with Napsu and just dunk on it and mask for 4